policing, you got rape gangs. All right, you got lots of stuff that are not very friendly.
And I think we could either ignore
I almost forgot to turn my mic on.
We can see what's
Good-
happening other
good
places
evening,
and
all.
stop it.
Yeah, you know, thank God for us that we have places like
Oh, I
England and
forgot to
France.
check
that we
my
can just
Discord
look to
before
be like,
signing
actually,
in.
Whatever they're doing, I don't want to do that. All the infinite socialism and hedonism and leftism and immigrationism, get it out. No more. Now, Iran radar sites were struck by the U.S. because, of course, our battle against this specific third world empire seems to be happening across the entire planet. All right. U.S. forces struck Iranian coastal surveillance radar sites, as he says. U.S. Central Command said moments ago, CENTCOM forces shot down 4 Iranian one-way attack drones that were launched toward the Strait of Hormuz. The attack drones posed an immediate threat to regional maritime traffic. U.S. forces subsequently struck Iranian coastal surveillance radar sites in Goruk and Keshim Island to defend against further attacks. Now, to be clear, this is just Iran violating the quote-unquote ceasefire and bombing civilian ships. This is an act of terror. Everyone should condemn this. Of course, no one will, because the UN has been absolutely and utterly conquered by Islam. All the Eurocucks in the UN, they have to bow down to their new Islamic overlords because they imported 4 bajillion of them. You know, 25% of the UN is Islamic countries. So the UN, which is supposed to be fighting for world peace and fairness and whatever the fuck bullshit they spew these days, you know, any job is a woman's job. We'll turn a blind eye to this child sex slavery in like half of the freaking Middle Eastern countries. I just respect culture. I respect your culture, and I respect their culture. Okay, their culture rapes children, and I respect that. Okay, and the UN will never ever say a word about anything like this. They'll condemn the United States about everything, and Israel and every other Islamic rival. they'll blast all those guys to smithereens. Absolutely. But no, committing generic acts of terrorism, firing missiles at, economic travel, like basic regional maritime traffic. Oh, that's cool. We don't care, actually. Anyway, they'll condemn Donald Trump for attacking Iran. Incredibly classy stuff. CENTCOM footage. This is the strike. Just absolute cinema. Blew up their radar. They launched shit at us, and this was self-defense. For those of you paying attention, this was self-defense. This was defensive blowing them up, okay? It was a very defensive blowing them up situation. We did it for self-defense purposes. If you don't like it, cry. So the people of Iran have been releasing these videos constantly, obviously afraid because if they show their face, they would get publicly executed by the regime, saying, please arm us, we need to be armed. Tons of people have been posting this everywhere throughout Iran. Please, hello, help us fight back against our Islamic oppressors. Yeah, and it's actually heartbreaking. Look, I don't know what Trump's plan is. That dude, he's a sneaky fish, that guy. I could see the Donald being like, oh, we would love to make peace. Peace would be lovely. And then all of a sudden, boom, he wipes out the entire regime in like one day and the entire Iranian people gets armed or some shit. But that's the kind of goofs and gaffes he could actually pull off. And I'm not discounting that. I don't know what the plan is. So I'm not going to sit here and make believe that I disagree and condemn Trump for the way he's handling things, because the truth is you never really know it, that guy. And that's something I like about him. He keeps you on your toes. Listen, just a couple of months ago, Venezuela was one of our arch nemesis in our hemisphere, sending drug boats and drug traffickers and narco-terrorists into our country. It was a communist regime oppressing the people. And then I woke up one morning and Venezuela is our greatest ally and giving us tons of How did that happen? You'd have to listen, man. Cheeto Man pulls off some wild shit. But thousands of students taking to the streets in Abdan, Iran, renewed unrest shaking the regime from within. Look at this, dude. And this wasn't the protest from like 10, 11 months ago. This is now. This is yesterday. Praying for... look, they're not carrying the regime flags, okay? They're not being like, no, regime, you must fight back against the infidels. They're not doing any of that shit. They are just really tired of this Islamic regime torturing them forever. All right, just in, U.S. plans to use Iranian assets to rebuild Gulf allies. Complete W, dude. I'm telling you, bro. Trump is the fucking GOAT. He is. He's just so good. He's so good. Iran was like, Mr. Trump, we want reparations. If you want to end this war, we want reparations. So Trump is be like, and if you rebuild all of the Gulf Arab countries that you've been bombing... No. You will be giving them reparations, actually. Listen, I think Trump, to some extent, is playing hard to get. He's making it look like he wants to deal, but he's making demands that he knows there's no fucking way that they're actually going to do. That's why whenever I see some of his demands, I'm like, they're never going to fucking do this. It's almost like Trump doesn't actually want them to agree. He actually just kind of wants them to start shit up to give us an excuse to send them back to the Stone Age. I sometimes feel that way. I'll be real here. I don't know. Now, I have a very interesting stance on warfare in general. Wars are obviously horrible and brutal, and innocent people die, etc., etc. Yada yada, generic disclaimer that everyone needs to give. But I actually have the weird opinion that if a war starts, we should actually win. I don't believe in just not winning wars. I think we should win, actually. Them, unconditionally surrendering, or by us killing all of them. That's the only two ways to win a war, actually. Otherwise, it's just on pause. I don't think that the Islamic regime, who's built into their doctrine, death to America, I don't think those guys are actually going to start liking us. We're just going to, shake hands, and then shake hands, spit on our hands, and shake. I don't think all of a sudden they're going to be our friends. I don't know, man. Think of all the goats that have been anally tortured by these people. 40,000 of their own people massacred just because, oopsie poopsie, you had an opinion we don't like. Now, Kuwait is sentencing the TV presenter Zenaib Daishti to 3 years in prison for publicly backing Iran's Islamic Republic. The verdict was upheld. All right? Listen, man. Listen, Kuwait. I love how the Pakistani, community, these guys, they came out there. They were like, no, actually, all of the Arab countries that are getting bombed by Iran, they're actually on Iran's side. They are literally imprisoning fucking TV reporters for glazing the regime. If Hassan Piker was in any Muslim country in the Middle East, he'd be in jail right now. Think about it like that. If he was in any Muslim country, he'd be in jail for supporting the Islamic regime. Except for Iran, where he would probably get executed for being gay. Now, the U.S. Central Command says, during a recent trip to the Middle East, Admiral Brad Cooper, Central Command commander, met with senior leaders from Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and Jordan. He also met with deployed U.S. service members, recognized exceptional performers, and presided leadership transition to the U.S. Army Central. Now, this is insane. All right, remember when we were told, but this is going to make our alliance with all of the different Muslim countries so bad. All the Muslim countries are going to hate us now because... No, all the Muslim countries, they fucking love us, all right? Our issues are actually Europe, all right? It's actually Europe, right? The actual Arab countries in the Middle East, the Gulf countries, they fucking love us. They're like, please, Mr. President, kill the fucking Ayatollahs. They're gay. They're gay, Mr. President. Or they're also terrorists. But more importantly, homosexuals, please, dude. Trump killing the gay Ayatollah during Pride Month would be cinema. Anyway, now, Iran's Fars news agency reports an explosion near Karg Island, Iran's key oil export in the Persian Gulf. You mean to tell me things are still happening while nothing is happening? Now, we have to see how the UN, who we've already established are obviously friends to the people, how they've been, doing such a good job to promote peace. All right, so this is Palestinian students at the UN schools. All right, let's see what we have. I'll translate for you in case you're just listening to the audio. We have to make war to prove we are stronger than the Jews. She didn't say Zionists, by the way. She said Jews. I'm just for those of you keeping track. People love Palestine, and they are ready to die for Palestine. Now, I know this is going to be a total random tangent, but when it comes to fictional worlds that I very much like, I like Middle-earth from Lord of the Rings. I think that the universe and world building in One Piece is incredible, and my favorite fictional country is probably Palestine. I want to fight against the Jews and defeat them in war. At school, they teach us that Al-Aqsa and all of Palestine is ours. The Jews lie and say that their temple is under the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Yeah, they lie. The Jews and the Christians and literally every single archaeologist in the history of time. They're all lying. Yeah, they literally built Al-Aqsa Mosque on top of the temple. It was never there. We could just deny your history and replace it with our own. We have invented bagels. That's right. I hate the Jews. Yes, they teach us that Zionists are the enemy. Man, I wonder why these guys grow up to become terrorists. That's crazy. And must fight them. They teach us the Jews are terrorists. At school, they teach us about Jews. They teach us they are bad people. They killed our young. Have you ever asked why? They teach us in school the Jews are fickle, bad people. I'm sure they mean Zionists. I am ready to stab a Jew and drive a car over them. I will fight. These are like 8-year-old boys, by the way. Just to understand what, and this is in a UN school. All right, listen. If this was like in Palestinian schools, I wouldn't even show this to you because, of course, they teach you that the Jews are horrible monsters and stuff. You have to kill them, which is why you have so many terrorism issues coming out of Palestinian areas. And not just in Israel, all right? The Palestinians started a civil war in Jordan. They started a civil war in Lebanon, all right? That's why they're not given land there. They started coups in Egypt, which is why Egypt expelled all the Palestinians. Obviously, they do tons of terror attacks against Israel. They have incredibly high crime rate and terrorism rates whenever they become immigrants in retard European countries. Why? I will ram a car into the Jews. We have to constantly stab them, drive over them and shoot the Jews. Stabbing and running over the Jews brings dignity to the Palestinians. Listen, man, this isn't me being Islamophobic. I'm just noticing that the UN might not be teaching them the best of values. I'm just saying. Anyway, this keeps going, obviously. But interestingly enough, this was breaking news from yesterday. A car full of Palestinians were trying to enter Israel illegally and carry out terror attacks against Jews. All right? Right, so he's telling you, wait a minute, here you have, this is a Palestinian wearing, like, a kippah to fit in. Where are you from? But he doesn't understand, because he doesn't speak Hebrew. That's a red flag. He's from Mil Khalil, he says it in an Arabic accent. Where are you going with a keep on your head? Come out of the car. Oh, they're in the trunk too, just traveling nicely. Interesting, what's going on? Wow. I'll tell you why I'm showing this to you. Because I want our border police to be as fucking based as the Israelis, okay? Yes, I want to live in a nation, the United States of America, that cares about the American people and the American borders as much as the Israelis do. I know. There's so much slopaganda telling me to hate this. But no, this is actually awesome, and I wish we did it a lot more, too. Dude, we would live in freaking paradise if we had border patrol like like Israel. I'm not even lying, bro. Dude, just absolute insanity. All right, Palestinian journalists over here. This was a new video just released. This came out, as you can see, these are the journalists in the press vests that are literally with the Palestinians lobbing grenades. The Palestinian terrorists lobbing grenades at cars.
Journalists got hurt.
You mean to tell me journalists are getting injured in the war? That's crazy. I'm personally shocked. I can't believe this at all. So this is a kangaroo fainting so that the people will feed it the world's first Palestinian kangaroo. Listen, man, it's just rough out here. So Ilhan Omar is getting thrashed on the timeline because she was the one Democrat that voted against funding Ukraine. Now, this is hilarious, and she's not doing it for the reasons why I would vote to stop Ukraine. I would vote to stop funding Ukraine because I don't want to fund
What the hell did I only have two of?
Israel. I don't want to fund Ukraine. I don't want to fund any foreign countries.
God damn it.
We have too much shit to deal with on our own borders. I don't want to be funding anybody else. That's my stance in general. Now, Ilhan Omar, obviously, does support funding foreign countries because she has fought for USAID to continue giving whatever underwater back shots, tap dancing, lesbian classes in Afghanistan. All right, and she's been fighting for.
I think it was the horse semen.
Money to Somalia. She's allegedly committing tons of fraud, sending money to Somalia. So you gotta wonder what's going on here.
Well,
so
it's
this
too
is
late now.
herself. I have always and will continue to stand
You know what? No, it's not.
and unequivocally condemn Putin's illegal and brutal invasion. I vote against the Ukrainian Support Act because of its inclusion of the broad
Come on.
sanctions. Time and time again, sanctions like these fail to achieve their stated goals while inflicting real suffering on ordinary people. Opposing Russian aggression does not require us to support policies that punish ordinary civilians who do not ask for this war. So she is voting against funding to Ukraine, not because she's against giving our money to Ukraine. She's against the sanctioning Russia. You can't make this up. Because the innocent Russian people, why should they deserve some form of sanctions? The foreign policy establishment continue to the same failed playbook and expect different results. Economic sanctions fail to achieve their desired goals. This is literally a lie. But anyway, so this is like her whole thing. All right, she wants to give infinite money away to other countries. Consistency W, let's go. She just doesn't want to punish the poor Russian people with sanctions. Anyway, literal truth nuke community note. Ilhan Omar supports boycott, divest, sanction movements to sanction Israel. Interesting. Additionally, claims that sanctions are ineffective are wrong. U.S. sanctions have been very successful against apartheid South Africa and Iran and Libya. Yeah, so again, wrong on every level here. She's like, I don't support sanctions ever. Okay, but she supports sanctions against Israel. And she doesn't think sanctions ever work. Okay, but it did help against multiple places. Like, we're not dealing with the best and brightest. We should not have these people representing us. We shouldn't even have these people in our country. I'm just saying. Listen, man. Some cultures...
Hey, what's up?
Kind of shitty, you know? Like, why do we gain by bringing these people in here? I'm just asking questions.
Gotta give me a
All right,
second. I gotta.
So this guy, this is incredible. This is just
I'm
insane.
texting my niece
Josh
right quick.
Gottheimer over here says no foreign government should be influencing what our kids are taught in American classrooms. We need transparency, accountability, and strong safeguards against foreign interference of our education system. American students should be learning facts, not Qatari-funded narratives. Now, the reason for this is because there was a new report that came out of $65 million in Qatari campaigns influencing U.S. elections, and billions of dollars going into.
You
our
just had
school
fish
system
the other
from
day.
Qatar. Now, why does Qatar want to teach our American students shit? What do you think they have to tell them? I have a feeling they're not teaching them about transgenderism or how to invest in the stock market. I have a feeling that their donations are going to a slightly more sinister curriculum. So this is pretty basic. I don't think any foreign government should be influencing what our kids are taught in American classrooms. Obviously, I'm against all foreign lobbying. I'm against all foreign lobbying and all foreign funding of like our schools and stuff. Like China funds our schools. I wonder why. You know, and then everyone comes out a communist. That's so weird. So, anywho, interestingly enough, this guy says something. This is pretty innocuous, right? Like, there's no way you could possibly disagree with this. Like, I don't want foreign governments to influence what our kids teach, right? Like, duh. Ilhan Omar, she's back. Weird how you haven't said anything about the other Mid-East countries who influence so much about our politics and policy and found the
You had fish the other day.
Leads the charge to oppose
You had not too long, not too long ago. We were, you had
she's
cod.
mad that this dude is like, I don't want foreign funding influencing our kids. That makes sense. And then she's like, weird how you're not mentioning.
I remember you talking about it.
Why are you roasting Qatar? Because Qatar wants to destroy the Abraham Accords, which, by the way, is like just a good peace deal.
Yeah.
Like, the
See, I
Abraham
told you it
Accords
wasn't that long
fantastic
ago.
peace deal
I
in
don't
the
know.
Middle
I don't
East.
have a good
Why on earth would you be against that? All
memory
right?
for time.
What does this have to do with Israel at all? Like, what are we even doing here? It's like, my God, this bitch have the syndrome. She has the syndrome. It's rough, buddy. You know, yes, Israel, the problem. Yes, yes. As you can see over here, this is per capita foreign lobbying spent in America. Yes. Look at the graph. Yes, the $20 per citizen in Israel, $781 per citizen in Qatar, and Qatar is way bigger. All right, interesting how that works.
Yeah,
Now,
fish is
to be
alright.
clear, I want both of these to be at 0. All right, just to make my stance known. I don't want any foreign love.
I used to catch my own fish when I lived in the Midwest.
I think alliances are good, and we should definitely.
Now they just have trout
good deals with other nations
out
to
here in
benefit our own.
Pennsylvania.
I do not believe in
Not a
being
big
the
fan
guinea
of
pig,
trout.
test subject, or recipient of foreign powers in any way at all, ever. I'm a simple man. And actually, I think we have to start recognizing the actual issues in the country for where they actually come from. Now, all of our favorite Muslim streamers are having terrible days, and we have to talk about it. All right, I'm not going to lie. So, first, we have to show you the meeting of the minds. Here we have Sneeko-based right-wing Muslim talking about how he is making an alliance with Hassan Piker. Based communist? I don't even know what I'm supposed to say here. All right, communist, dog shocker, brothel goer, terror supporter, enthusiast guy. All right, so this is them talking about their alliance.
I'm announcing it too. Me and Hassan Piker we're going courtside next to each other on Monday. It's going to be me.
That's right. I hope you're paying attention.
Hassan Piker and then Mamdani. We're going to be mean mugging Trump and Netanyahu on the other side the whole time. I was talking about it earlier. They think I'm a good leftist grifter. I could be join the Muslim leftist coalition. Mehdi Hassan. I'm announcing it.
That's right. So it's going to be Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani, communist, Hassan Piker, communist, and base right-wing influencer Sneeko all together, joining together for unity purposes.
I had
Is
Wendy's.
The PSYOP obvious yet? Like, my favorite part about the PSYOP, it's like you got a bunch of like these 80.
I had 2 spicy chicken sandwiches.
And they're all like, yo, unity is important. Wink, wink, wink. Let's important.
And me and Buddy shared an order of fries.
Yeah, all right, we got it. Sneeko all about fighting the degenerate, the degenerate West, and Hassan Piker is like out there with OnlyFans girlfriends and going to brothels and Diddy parties. But yet somehow they can have unity and a meeting of the minds. It's almost like their literal only goal is the destruction of Western civilization. Isn't it weird when you start to notice these things? So this is Sneeko, inshallah. Nixon 4, inshallah. He's a big fan of the Knicks now. Look at him with his fucking goofy ass dress and a jersey on top of it. Isn't that good? That's our guy. That's our guy doing the ISIS salute thing. You know, Nixon 4, because he supports the Knicks now. All right, so this is Sneeko, the most performative male to ever live, according to Nick Fuentes. You know, we'll take those. And this is Sneeko, Nixon 4. not the most, totally not the most performative male of all time, right? That's Sneeko. The Knicks are winning games, my guys. Wow! And Sneeko is super on top of it. Now, the story gets better. I just want to show you. All right, so Nick Fuentes has been posting this on Telegram. The halftime show is going to be a satanic ritual because watching sports is for bots. All right, this is a Sneeko take from the end of 2023. And now, Knicks in 4, inshallah! Watching sports, that's for the goyim. That's for bots. that's goy slop. Knicks in 4! Bro, this guy's amazing. He's amazing. He's the most performative man to ever live. All right, bro. So we are reaching levels of brown clownery that shouldn't be possible. All right, we got Nick Point. We got
brown clownery.
With his dress and the jersey, with his fans. He came straight from an Uber. They came straight from probably driving an Uber, right out of Pakistan to be there with Sneeko over here, fighting for Western civilization to liberate us from our Zionist overlords.
That's good. It's Wendy's. Wendy's is consistent.
Did you fall for it, guys? Did you fall for it yet? All right, let's see who else is rooting for Knicks in 4. Let's see who else is doing the exact same thing. Oh, wow. Oh my God! Oh my God, guys! Oh my God! AOC, an accurate cosplay over here. I have to say, fantastic job, truly. So I'm really glad that the brown clownery is truly reaching levels none of us expected. So as we know, Sneeko is Knicks in 4. He's celebrating. He's so excited. He's bombing with the Sandpiker over this. This is gonna be big.
3 Sneeko.
Stop telling me that. Nobody watches bot basketball. We have better things to talk about. Let's talk about the Talmud. We need to discuss.
Why would we talk about bot basketball when we can talk about the Jews?
Religions.
Bro, shut the fuck up.
Hey, look at basketball.
Sneeko, look, Sneeko.
I am an NPC. If I like basketball, we have to talk about the Jews. Also, Sneeko. Knicks in 4. Knicks in 4. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really glad he's totally realized that he's just a bot. That's crazy. You know.
It's going all right. I need to get a rhythm in with these machines.
This is him defending himself. Yeah, I know that that it's goy slop, but I have no choice. I have no choice. Bro's incredible. If it took the first Muslim mayor 1 year to revive New York City back to pre-COVID supremacy, there is literally a violent attack against the Jew daily in New York right now, by the way. Just imagine the entire country. In other words, he's openly stating that he wants Muslim rule for the entire United States of America. Just saying, do we really want another 40 years of creepy baby boomer war hogs? That's right. We have to replace them with the most peaceful religion of all time. I really hate how the American government is full of war hawks, so we have to replace them with Muslims who notoriously have never been engaged in a violent conflict ever. Now, New York City is actually a third world country right now. If you actually walk around in New York, I just have, that place is dog shit. You know, I'm not racist at all, and then I walk outside and I'm like, what the fuck are they all doing here? You know, I'll be real with you. All right, there's a massive issue in New York. Actual PvP server. I'm not even gonna lie. All right, so Muslim mayor 1 year to revive New York City. What are we even talking about? Oh my God. Holy shit. So now, a lot of people have been calling Sneeko a brown clown because his takes are just absolutely horrific, right? Bro's got 80 IQ, and he's making sure you're aware of that.
Is for bots.
There they go.
Brown cloud.
Thank you for the $20. Good boy. Good bitch. First off, you worship a brown to olive skinned Jew. Like maybe you're mad that you're.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Well, Christianity is cringe. It's his soundboard. It's his soundboard. Oh yeah, Christianity is lame. His soundboard. Bro, this is your based Unity streamer?
You're never gonna realize that God is not a man. Also, if you're gonna call me a brown clown, you worship a brown Jew. So, if you're gonna say that about me, do you think that anybody here gets upset about brown clown?
I'm totally not upset when I'm called a brown clown. Anyway, here's a clip of him getting upset when they call him a brown clown.
Sneeko is a sensitive brown clown.
Why the fuck are you laughing so hard?
Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing so hard?
Why are you laughing?
The brown clown is his,
Yeah. It's just sexy.
that's his IP.
Yeah.
Bro, so mad.
That's not funny, bro.
Not funny. Not funny. No, please don't call me a brown clown. Stop saying it.
If I was brown, I would be going through it. If someone
Sad.
told me that.
Stop. Please.
It's
not funny.
It's not funny. Please. Not funny. Please don't say it. No.
So, if you're gonna say that about me, do you think that anybody here gets upset about?
Obviously, yes. Thank you for.
I'm in the bungalow. I'm not that far.
Now,
I'm like
just so
hoodlum
that
level
everyone's
2.
aware of the psyop that's happening in our country. All right, so Alex Jones says
Just in case you missed it, here's Benjamin Netanyahu in his own words thanking Congress for implementing his plan to take over the U.S. military and intelligence services.
Now, this is a letter from the Prime Minister Netanyahu with his plan. He says, my plan. All right, now let's see what the my plan is. My plan, according to Netanyahu, is shifting the framework for U.S.-Israel defense cooperation from aid to partnership. Israel wants to stop taking our money. Did you read this before posting it?
Israel is controlling our government. Israel's convinced us to stop giving them money.
What are we even doing here? It is crazy that people are falling for this, man. Dude. Now, in regards to this partnership that's being referenced, you have to see it. It's the funniest thing in the world. So Hassan Piker is losing his mind because he says that we are being completely conquered by Israel.
Whenever people say, oh, why do you care about Israel so much? I'm like, why don't you care about Israel? Are you fucking insane? Are you stupid?
Got him. Roasted.
Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you oblivious to what's going on?
Shit. More roasts. Never engage with the talking points, just insult. Good point.
Another foreign country is at the precipice of so much enmity that they are about to create a real political problem as far as their unlimited funds that they receive. That
Which they're trying to stop. Which we should not be paying them, for sure. But, yeah, okay.
Now advancing a measure in Congress to literally merge the foreign military of Israel and the American military.
Yo! Israel is merging militaries with us? Holy shit. This is Hassan Piker. He's the largest leftist streamer in the country. There's no way he would just lie about this, right?
Do we have one with other countries? You say England. Not true.
True. You're right. Because what could England give us? Let's be real here. Well, what could England give us that would make our country better right now? They have zero technological innovation, essentially. It's not like they've had active conflicts where they had to actually train military, right? They have no working warships, right? What is England going to do for us right now? Like I'm just trying to understand.
Not true. Israel is the only country that gets the latest technology, latest great technology.
Israel invents a lot of the late great technology. I don't know if you're aware, but they've been at war for a long time. And they have developed almost all of what we're calling the late great technology recently. The U.S. great technology that we're creating, that's in labs that hasn't been used, and we don't know what it is. The Israeli late technology is actually being implemented on the battlefield, and we are getting it. We are literally getting dibs on Israeli battle-tested technology, like the Iron Dome, which is going to be the Golden Dome, the Donald calls it, and it's going to be implemented on our country to essentially be the greatest missile defense system in the history of the world.
No other country gets to have it.
Right, so he's saying that Israel is merging militaries with us.
To literally merge the foreign military of Israel and the American military.
So Hassan Piker, who by the way hates the American military and supports the Taliban for trying to kill us, just reminding you who we're talking about, he hates the idea that we are merging militaries with a foreign country. Would it shock anyone to learn that we are not, in fact, merging our military with Israel's? Well, what's he referring to? Well, let's see.
Congress is trying to merge Israeli and American militaries together.
This is the new 80 IQ PSYOP talking point.
And they hid it in a defense bill. In Section 224 of the American National Defense Authorization Act, they called for an Israel-American Technology Cooperation Initiative.
So this kid says go to Section 224.
Well, what does it say in there?
224. So let's talk about what 224 actually does and says. Section 224 creates something called the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. It designates a Department of Defense executive agent to coordinate research and development, testing, evaluation, acquisition pathways, and industrial cooperation between the United States and Israel. Funny enough, these same people will say, well, we give money to Israel. What do we get back from them? This is just another thing added on. If you guys want to know more, you can watch my video that talks about a lot of stuff we get from Israel. Notice what is missing from that description. There is no military merger. There is no combined army. There's no transfer of command authority. This is all just made up nonsense from them, or they read it online and they're just repeating it. A lot of people are getting hung up on the word integration.
But that's because they're retards who don't know English and how to read. So essentially what this is we are getting weapon technology from Israel. Now, just in case you're not aware of who this guy is, this is Nick Mateo. He is a U.S. Navy veteran, and he is a nuclear physicist, I think, or a nuclear engineer, or something like that. All right, so I'm just saying, he probably knows his stuff.
Systems and programs making us better, things like missile defense, counter-drone technology, artificial intelligence, cyber capabilities, electronic warfare systems, sensors, and anti-tunnel technology. I wonder, what country in the world is one of the best at exactly those things I just mentioned? Yes, Israel.
Yeah, so again, the idea that we're merging our militaries is obviously not true. All it is we're actually just getting good tech and good info and good shit from, you know, an ally of ours. You could argue our greatest ally, not our greatest ally. I don't give a fuck. Labels mean nothing to me. But we're getting good shit from an ally, and everyone's crashing out. Oh my God, the militaries are merging. We're occupied. All right, let's understand. So this guy, Sean Strickland, said he is banned from attending the UFC White House event because he made fun of Israel and Epstein.
Hey, what up, G?
That's
What do you got for me?
Jews be like, we don't control the government, and then they ban Sean Strickland from the White House. Yes. All he did was call a president a pedophile, and now the president won't invite him to the White House. I mean, all he did was call the president a pedophile. Man, I can't understand why the Jews would be like, why are you being serious? Like, bro. So Dan Bilzerian, he's one of my favorite characters out here. A lot of you probably don't know this, but the JQ community is easily one of my favorite communities on the internet. These guys are fucking rock stars, all of them. All right, so Dan Bilzerian says, you know, a quote from the New Testament. So this guy says, what's your thoughts on Isaiah 61:6, a quote from the Old Testament? Dan Bilzerian's response, lot of Jewish bullshit in the Old Testament. This is what we call heresy, not just in Judaism, but this is heresy according to Christianity, and he is a Christian. Right, so we have a Christian guy who's saying that the Old Testament is Jewish bullshit to own the Jews. Like, do we understand the level of retard psyop that we're actually dealing with? Like, oh my God, these guys are incredible. So now, I don't know what the Jews have on this guy, but he flipped the other direction. So Lucas Gage, he was one of like the big guys in the, as he calls it, the anti-Semite community. The more I sit down and talk to Jewish people, the more I realize how maligned they are. The lies the JQ crowd now tell about me are similar to those they tell about the Jews. I was part of that crowd, and now I'm glad to say I'm no longer an anti-Semite. And here he's sitting like sitting Jews. Bro, I don't know what the Jews have on this guy. What are we doing? What is going on in this community, bro? The craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. He went from one extreme to the other, like, in a blink of an eye. No one saw this one coming. Now, let's see, in regards to the foreign psyops, it keeps getting worse. All right, so Erica Kirk, she's doing a speech for Turning Point USA. You know, as she's speaking...
And it's important to remember that happiness comes and goes. Yeah. It is so fleeting. But the joy of the Lord withstands all.
I think you have one of these people screaming in the background, horrible shit, honestly. Because, like, what do you even say about this? Like, you could just lie now, I guess, and guess who gets involved? That's right, it's Candace Owens. Dirty boy chops screws and premieres Charlie GPT. His widow? Erica gets heckled and called a supporter for pedophiles. Heckled is when you just scream at her in the middle of a speech. Yeah, it's time to get back on air. Monday can't come fast enough. She's like, oh, baby. Someone slandered a widow. I'm ready. Bro, this is crazy. Now, it's not just Candace Owens that's gleeful about this. No. It's also Russia. All right, so Russian state media, RT, zoom in as Erica Kirk is called a pedo protector to her face. Suppressed laugh or shock. Why is Russian state media getting involved, trying to put on Erica Kirk, a widow? Look, I'm not some big fan of Erica Kirk myself. I don't actually have an opinion on her other than she is a widow. Her husband was brutally murdered in front of her and the entire country in the most viral and viewed assassination in the history of the world. But all these self-proclaimed, based Christians, it says in the Bible, Exodus 22:22. Do not take advantage of the widow or the fatherless. If you do, they cry out to me. I will hear their cry. My anger will be aroused, and I will kill you with the sword. Your wives will become widows, and your children fatherless. That's a direct quote from God. My stance on all this is leave her the fuck alone. What are we even doing? Like, this is insanity. It really is. So Candace Owens, suspiciously, is very, very a big fan of Russia now. She loves Russia. Russia's her favorite place. We told Russia they couldn't have Starbucks, and they said, okay, now we own it and call it Stars Coffee. Same great taste, no American demands met. Oh, those Russians really showed those Americans. They did this for virtually every brand, and that got sanctioned, by the way, just made it their own. So is she rooting for Russia avoiding our sanctions or something? Yeah, she is actually doing that, exactly. Bro, could you imagine her reaction if the Jews would do shit like this? Oh my god. Oh my god. But Russia does it, and that's awesome, actually. Russia, where, by the way, a lot of you might not know this, the #1 fastest growing Islamic population in any Christian nation in the world is in Russia right now. A lot of you don't know this, so it's pretty weird how that keeps happening. So weird how all of the hating of America and the growing of Islam.
Come on,
seem to
come
have a lot in
on.
common sometimes. I can't figure out why. Now, Russia is superior to America because they have shitty knockoffs of Starbucks. Is one hell of a take even for Candace Owens. Candace responds, if by shitty, you mean everything in their society is exactly the same, but cheaper and cleaner and more inspiring, then can we import some of that Russian shit to America? Gas is cheaper, food is cheaper, and they have less debt. Our media lies every day, pretends Russia's on the brink of collapse to justify our own citizens struggling to afford basic necessities, yada yada, etc., etc. Everyone's a Baal worshiper, all right? Geriatric Baal worshippers are killing Palestinian children, and they're the chosen ones for Satan. Oh my fucking god. Bro, what are we doing? And people are falling for the psyop, man. It's wild. So, just to understand what she means by everything is cheaper. All right, the median monthly income in Russia is $850 a month. The average grocery bill is $200 a month. Their average fill-up is $50 a tank. Their average rent is $500 a month. $650 per month if you include utilities. So just understand what that means. Grocery bill plus rent is an entire monthly salary in Russia. Yes, things are cheaper in Russia because they don't make fucking money. Question one, how does an average Russian, non-American tourist grifter comfortably survive given these facts? Two, how are you even a real person? Of course, she doesn't respond. But it's insane. It's insane the level of propaganda that's being slopped out onto everyone's feeds by these gigantic influencer people that have completely either sold out or just hate us. They might not be grifters. They might just literally just work for the enemy because they hate us. That's also possible. Now, dude, just understand, we have to deal with this every time. So anti-American propagandist Jimmy Dore, all right, is pushing that communist China is better than the United States. Now, Jimmy Dore is on Tucker Carlson's show. To understand who this guy is, this guy was a member of the Young Turks, okay? He was a member of the Young Turks advocating for violence against police officers because police officers are brutes and savages, to the point that one of his rants was reacted to by a man who murdered 4 police officers in Baton Rouge here in the United States of America. So this guy is now on Tucker Carlson's show because, hey, wow, they both hate America now, it seems.
Well, my response to it was, how dare we, preach democracy around the world and tell people that the people in China are oppressed when we obviously don't have democracy here. In China, the government sits above capital.
Yes.
And so the economy works for the people.
Oh,
but in the United States,
in China, it's notoriously good for the people. The people in China love it. They walk out of their fucking sex shops and their slavery, sweatshops and shit, and they're like, oh man, I really don't want to invade America illegally. I would hate to do that. Man, China's the best.
capital is above the government. And so the economy doesn't work for the people. It works for a handful of international globalist billionaires, which is why we have homelessness everywhere. We have the biggest prison population in the world. And,
Notice how they're not even including the fact that China genocides people that they don't like, all right? Like the Uyghur Muslims who are put into, re-education camps, right? Stuff like that. We're not even going to address that. We're not going to address any of that. The Tiananmen Square massacre, none of that. This was on, basically, the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. They don't care. China's just so much better than us.
You still go bankrupt just to get educated. You get bankrupt when you get sick. And
you don't have to. You don't have to get bankrupt when you get educated or sick. Only retards get bankrupt when they get educated and sick. I know that some people are going to not like my framing here, but there are free colleges, and if you actually get a degree that's worth something, you'll be able to pay back your loans. The people that are getting bankrupted by going to schools, now, I'm not saying that student loan debt is not a big deal. It really is a big deal. And unfortunately, despite usury being a sin, it is very, very much implemented into modern society. I bring this up because the majority of people that are stuck in, infinite student loan debt are liberal women who get degrees in fucking cobwebs and nothingness. I have a master's degree in gender utopia. Yeah, you're never going to pay back your student loans. But anyway, he keeps going.
I say is that we live in a surveillance state, and so we're like China, except
you think we live in a surveillance state, but China doesn't?
We have more street crime and slower trains.
No. And we get lectured constantly.
And we get lectured. Tucker Carlson agrees. Truly, China's just better.
In the most self-righteous way by the worst people.
That's right, because China's notoriously just so good to their people, especially the way they genocided the people in Tibet and plan to do it to the people in Taiwan. True, so true. Now, Jimmy Dore keeps going, and Tucker Carlson keeps tackling along.
It's set up, and you're not allowed to ask questions about it. And if you are, you are attacking a grieving widow. And that's again, when did Jackie O ever say, "Quit looking in"? Stop. quit looking into who killed my husband. Never. That's not what happens. And that's not how you grieve, by the way. I remember when my
You're not grieving correctly, actually.
dad died, my mom immediately bought a gold sequin pants outfit, started carrying sparklers around and selling t-shirts. And my friends were like, Jimmy, what's with your mom? I'm like, she's grieving. So I'll just leave that there.
So Tucker Carlson was supposedly Charlie Kirk's like best friend, right? Isn't that what he was saying? Like when Charlie Kirk died, my best friend died, etc., etc. Like, isn't that what's going on? But yet you're just gonna shit on his widow? This is a Christian value, am I right? Again, don't look at Exodus 22:22 to 22:24. That might change your opinion on things, but this is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, what are we doing here? Now, the Muslims in the actual marketplace of ideas are getting slaughtered. So this is a guy named Godlogic. He's a Christian apologist. He's debating a Muslim scholar, and he humiliates him.
Now you're trying to shift to the deity of Christ when that's not the subject. Let me, for the sake of this imaginary world, let's say Jesus is not God. For the sake of this conversation, prove he's a Muslim.
Because he submitted himself to one God as a prophet.
Which God?
The creator of the universe.
Who did he say that was?
I believe the term he used was it Adonai?
No, he didn't use that.
What's the term that he used in the Bible?
He used Abba.
No, not always.
That means father.
Did he use Abba?
Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one God. How do you say it?
Well, hold on a second. Did he use the term Abba?
Yes, and
what does Abba mean?
It means father.
Is that a good Muslim?
Like I said, are you serious? Are we circling back?
Stop stalling.
You're really good at this, huh?
I am.
Yeah. So check this out. Let me explain it to you. He was an Israelite, speaking to Israelites, and Jews today use the term father to not.
Are they Muslim?
No, they're Jews.
Oh, so Jesus wasn't a Muslim. Wow, literally debunks himself, and like in 60 seconds he debunks his entire argument, like an actual checkmate.
And speaking in context,
it's a wrap.
That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Literally debunks himself in real time. Now, if you think that was brutal and humiliating, get ready for the psyop, because a major people realize that Christians basically hold the keys to the kingdom, metaphorically speaking. Christians are the world power, which is why everyone is doing their absolute best to infiltrate different Christian communities. So one of the craziest things I've ever seen is, and I've seen this a lot, there are a lot of Muslims that make believe they're Christians. And this is one of the most brutal exposés I've ever seen in my life.
Salam alaikum.
I cannot say wa alaikum salam, I'm sorry. Because like you're not Muslim.
Well, I don't know this. Why don't you wish peace on non-Muslims?
Because Prophet Muhammad said you cannot say wa alaikum salam to non-Muslims.
That sounds really racist, bro.
It does not sound.
That's true. It's because Islam is an inherently supremacist, racist religion that believes anyone that's not a Muslim is equivalent to an animal and a pedophile. I'm just trying to give you some extra lore here. That's what it says in their holy books. That's not me trying to paint them in a bad light. If you think that was me being a bad guy, then you're calling their religion, or Muhammad, or whoever wrote, I would say he wrote it, but obviously he was illiterate and couldn't write. But whoever actually wrote the Quran, you're calling them a bad guy. All right, because that's their opinion.
I'm really racist.
Why won't you wish peace on me? I'm confused, bro. I thought Islam was the religion of peace.
It is the religion of peace, but it's just a word.
But your prophet commanded you not to wish peace on non-Muslims.
Oh my God. You trying to debate?
لا تبدو اليهود ولا النصارى بالسلام.
That was Arabic for "do not greet the Jews and the Christians with peace." That's a quote from the Quran.
Sahih Muslim 2167a. It's forbidden to greet the Jews and Christians with peace, and when you meet them on the road, force them to the narrow path.
No, it's not like that. That's in the old
that's old
centuries.
Old centuries.
We're not talking about now.
See, morality changes in Islam depending on whatever the fuck you want.
I'm genuinely not understanding what you're saying. So you're saying the first half is applicable now. You can't say salam, but the second part about forcing them to the narrow part of the road, that's not applicable now.
Yeah, because it's the old centuries. You cannot compare it to now.
But how come the first half is applicable now then? Why is that not the old century?
What do you mean?
There's two parts to the hadith. The first half of the hadith is don't wish Jews and Christians peace. The second part of the hadith is force them to the narrow part of the road. You're saying the second part doesn't apply, but the first part does, but it's the same hadith.
Look.
Get ready.
I don't know much about Muslims and religions because I'm a Christian, so I'm...
Is that not shocking? Is that not insane? Oh my God. I love how they caught this guy, because there are so many of them. All these like Twitter accounts, Indomitable West, and it's like some fucking, the West is great, picture of like a fucking Greek statue, account location based in Pakistan. So many of these exist. It's a huge psyop.
I'm gonna defend them. But look,
You're a Christian?
Yeah, I am.
MashaAllah. Can you just say for me that Muhammad is not a Rasul?
Why would I say that?
Because he isn't. And can you say that Isa is Ibn Allah?
Why? What?
He's like, so say that Jesus is the Son of God. So say that, Muhammad is not a messenger of the Lord.
So here we have a Muslim who's been caught in his own doublespeak, then pretending that he's a Christian.
No. Wait. There's a lot of Christian type.
Which Christian type believes that Muhammad is a prophet and that Jesus is not the son of God? Yeah, find me a Christian that believes that.
Believe that.
Say, Wallahi, I am not a Muslim.
Okay, I'm not saying that. Okay.
Oh my God! Just like actually destroyed him, annihilated him. Now pay attention, because this is the psyop. This is what I do here on the channel. For those of you that are new, you're probably not new because YouTube doesn't push my channel out to people because they hate me for some reason. I can't possibly figure out why. If you are new, realize that that's what we do. We shred the fake narratives that are being shoved down your throats. And even Asmongold, in his pride shirt, has spat a fact or two.
Please look at this. I don't want to hear about any Israel bullshit today. I don't care about it. Every single time that somebody brings up Israel, it is some retarded, brain-dead conspiracy fever dream that I don't want to hear about, okay? Like, I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I care about real problems, not some fantasy Israel derangement syndrome. I care about America, American problems, and what Israel does, who they bomb, what they do is not in my fucking best. I don't care about it, and I don't care in a good way or a bad way. I don't want to hear about it. That's a foreign country. Get the fuck out of here. And so yes, Israel fatigue. I know. I have complete Israel fatigue.
Now, just to be clear, for those of you paying attention to my coverage of the, online goings-on, Asmongold, a couple of months ago, he was definitely inquisitive about the Israel conspiracies, but he is a rational guy, and he realized that 90% of the criticisms levied against Israel and the Jews are just like actual 80% brown clownery. Bro, you got these 80 IQ inbreds from Pakistan, botting likes, and everyone's like, holy shit, we gotta get involved. Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and like all these retards, they fell for the fucking sauce. They dug their pit, and it is too late for them to dig themselves out. And if you've been paying attention, I said months ago, Asmongold is gonna flip on this because it is inherently an irrational position to think that for some reason a country, with 10 million people in the middle of the Middle East, the size of New Jersey, constantly embroiled in conflicts that they don't start, is completely and utterly controlling our country in every possible feasible way, and they're running our military, and they're blackmailing our politicians, and their donations are the only donations that actually, impact people, and we give them foreign aid because we're slaves to the Jews. Bro, we give NATO way more than we give Israel. We gave the Ukraine war an unfat $350 billion, and that wasn't in our best interest at all. All right, anyone that actually, Israel lobbied $100 million in like our elections. China lobbied $500 million. So did Saudi Arabia and Qatar. All right, and the United Arab Emirates and Japan. All right, Big Pharma. All right, like $500 million. Each of those guys. Israel did $100 million. In a vacuum, all these things are interesting questions that you need to look into. But once you start looking into it, if you have an even remotely rational mind, and Asmongold's an intelligent guy, he was like, literally, this is fucking goy slop. And you want to know why this is really unfortunate? Because there are genuine criticisms you could totally have towards the Jews and towards Israel. And you know what? It just gets completely watered down with infinite retards. Like Candace Owens saying that Israel sent time-traveling X-Men to kill Charlie Kirk. The biggest supporter of Israel in the United States, by the way. Charlie Kirk, totally assassinated by Sumerian time-traveling technology and secret Egyptian planes, all run by Israeli, Mossad, Epstein, satanic psychics. All right, you lost the people. Anti-Semitism is kind of a low IQ movement right now, I'm not going to lie. Hitler would roll over in his grave if he woke up right now and he saw the main people criticizing the Jews, like Candace Owens, black woman, and Turkish communists. No, the brown clowns for Hitler, ladies and gentlemen. Man, bro, if bro woke up and saw this shit, he'd kill himself again. But you know who the real loser is from all this propaganda? All this infinite slopaganda that's getting shoveled down all of our throats from Russia, from China, from Qatar, from any of these fucking retard countries. All right, let's be real. All right, the main victim to all this shit, it's not Israel. The main victim is us in the United States of America. Because so many retards who don't have the time, patience, or wherewithal to do research and reading and figure out what's actually going on are going to get swept into this infinite shit. And they're going to...
Oh yeah, I've already killed like 2 cops.
Holy shit, we need unity. We need unity. The Muslim
My drug dealer's got a gun.
that are occupying our government.
I got another gun laying around somewhere.
An utter retard for president that will open our borders and shred our nation. The slopaganda, it's meant to weaken us.
I came here
We're
for
the
the...
world power. And every one of these nations that want to get their little greedy fucking money-grubbing hands. All right, now I'm getting into my Jew zone. They want that global hegemony position. They want to be in charge. And they know we are. They know we're the most powerful and that we're the greatest country in the world. And they would love to topple us down by flooding us with Sneekos and Hassans and Candace Owenses and Tucker Carlsons. Don't fall for the propaganda. We live in the greatest country in the world. I'd like to keep it that way. Now, our government actually does recognize a lot of the issues. Do they do anything about it? I would argue not nearly enough. But do they recognize it? Well, they're starting to. So the White House released a left-wing lunacy list that highlights media members and influencers. The list includes Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Hassan Piker, David Pakman, Rachel Maddow, Don Lemon. Now, on this list, it's pretty hilarious, I do have to say. Right, Jimmy Kimmel stating just days before Saturday's assassination attempt that First Lady Melania Trump had the glow of an expectant widow. Stephen Colbert claiming Donald Trump is a fascist. Rachel Maddow saying that he's an authoritarian leader and that we should attempt to overthrow the U.S. government or whatever. James Carville suggesting President Trump would institute a fascist regime. Hassan Piker misspelled his name. W. Hell yeah, dude. Lamenting that President Trump is alive and remarking that it would be pretty funny if he died. You know, and they go through all these people. But essentially, it's just correct, actually. And like I've said before, I really like the words that the person is saying. I like the speeches. I like what they say. I just want them to do things. Can we put these people in jail already? Hello? Hello? Like, what are we doing? It's like, yes, assassination attempts are caused by these people. And then they don't go to jail. Listen. I'm a very simple man, all right? If I would have to describe my political alignment, I would call myself an Old Testament extremist.
All right, let me hop up and get something to drink right quick.
All right, now, I wouldn't. I don't have to. But if I had to, that's what I would do. And we need to actually punish these people. Hello? We have a country, we have laws, you should actually enforce them. Deuteronomy 16:18. You shall appoint judges and officers in all of your gates, which the Lord your God gives you according to your tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. Listen, I'm a simple man. I just want that to happen. Please. All right, now listen, anyway, I will keep advocating for this until we get it. We will, because the people are tired and the people are rising up and the people are realizing that we can't continue living like this. But of course, Hassan Piker, so we have to show you Jimmy Kimmel and Hassan Piker. So this is Jimmy Kimmel taking pot shots at Spencer Pratt, the guy who won the LA election and now they're trying to steal from him. And this is what he had to say.
It could take a while for Democrats here in Los Angeles to figure out which of their friends secretly voted for Spencer Pratt. Barring a late ballot buzzer beater, it appears that Mayor Karen Bass will advance to a runoff against the former reality show villain. 60% of the vote has been counted. If that holds, it means that in November, Los Angelinos are going to have to choose between a woman named Karen and a man who is one. This isn't...
He's such a Karen the way he wants to arrest naked drug dealer rapists that are letting dogs on fire on the streets of Los Angeles. What a Karen.
This is... We should be very embarrassed. Spencer Pratt should not be a top 2 finalist for mayor. He should be DJing the worst New Year's Eve party in Reno right now.
Oh, got him. Spencer Pratt responded with this, which is Jimmy Kimmel in blackface. He's just so fucking good. Oh my God, it's insane. Oy vey, fucking annihilated him. All right, bro. Hassan Piker is crashing out because Gavin Newsom was like, completely unacceptable to target independent journalists like this and reporters in general, from Pakman to Brian Tyler Cohen to Don Lemon and Stephen at home. Right, you know, I think this is amazing. It is a clear attack on the free press and the First Amendment. It needs to be called out, yada, yada. None of these people actually believe the words they say. And that's my favorite thing about the left. It's the fact that people still think that they use words because they mean them, when in fact they only use words as weapons. These people all celebrated when Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News, and they all celebrated when Donald Trump was banned from social media, to the point that he was forced to make Truth Social as his own little social media place that he could actually talk to people, because he was banned from Twitter and YouTube and Twitch. And that was while he was the sitting president of the United States. These people don't care about free speech. That's one. And two, this isn't a violation of free speech. The White House writing a list of people that they consider crackpots, like people that are endorsing assassinations against the president of the United States, That's not violating their free speech. In my opinion, that's being way too lenient with these people. So Hassan says, weird how my governor forgot one name on the list that's a California resident as well. What about me? What about me? Even Gavin Newsom doesn't want to touch this fucking dog-shocking, terrorist-supporting, Diddy party-enjoying brothel enthusiast with a fucking 6-foot pole. You know, this guy's way too far. He's like, no, I'm not touching that one. Dude, Hassan Piker's legacy is actually just dog shit. It's insane. Now, you have to understand the level of diabolical downfalls the left have been facing lately. So, this is incredible. So this is Jennifer Lawrence going on like one of these Subway interviews, and she had a take that was absolute cinema.
So what's your take?
You have to
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
born in New York to be a New Yorker. Yes! Yeah, I know everybody
Isn't
wants
that incredible? Isn't that incredible?
to claim the city.
No, if you said this about America at large, you would literally get stoned by a communist coming out of some fucking college somewhere. If I would say you have to be born in America to be an American, they would immediately lynch me and call me a racist. But for her to say this about New York, oh, that's okay now.
I know.
Everybody wants to claim our city, but you have to be born in New York. You have to be born
Everyone wants to claim our country, but you have to be born in America.
in one of the 5 boroughs to be a New Yorker.
Well, here's the thing.
Okay.
When I moved here in 2012,
Yes.
everyone was like, in 10 years you can call yourself a New Yorker.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah, and then I stayed 10 years.
Said no New Yorker.
No, the New Yorkers used to have this as a rule.
That was a rule?
Yes, you didn't know about.
And meanwhile, we can have people getting shipped straight off the boat from Somalia into Congress in our country, and yet no one has anything to say.
No, I didn't get the memo. I did not sign the petition.
And you're the official big dog in this.
I don't remember. Did I say Jennifer Lawrence? I meant Jennifer Lopez. Whatever. Who cares?
Here he is.
Here's some retard Hollywood bitch. No one cares about their opinions on anything. It's just hilarious that this is the socially acceptable stance when it comes to being a New Yorker, but not an American.
My question.
Okay.
Let's say I've been here for 50 years. I'm 90 years old. And you go, are you a New Yorker? And I go, no.
I have to say no. You live in New York. You take on characteristics of New Yorkers, probably by that time. You have a New York sensibility.
I pay New York taxes,
You pay, yeah, you pay New York taxes.
but I can't call it.
When you're born in New York is when you're really a New Yorker.
So if I've been here for 50 years.
What did I just say? Do I need to say it again? See, this is very New York right here. I said what I said, and I meant it. I'm glad this was my first take. Jenny from the block forever, baby.
Okay, what's the next take?
Self-love should be a subject in school.
All right, never mind. Get her out. Get her off the air. This shit sucks. Anyway, no, but it's just hilarious that you'll have like some celebrity say this, and everyone be like, yes, yes. And then you'll say that about America, and they'll just call you a racist immediately. Dude, if you say this about America, they'll kill you. True. It's just absolutely insane. And the movement that's actually trying to destroy us for opinions like, actually, to be an American, you need more than just a piece of paper that says you're an American. All right, I don't give a shit. I don't give a flying fuck about a paperwork American's opinion on our country.
Jojo?
But the thing is, the SPLC, you know, the Southern False Flag Center, used $4.1 million in donors funds to fund the KKK.
What's her problem?
The Justice Department alleges some SPLC employees knew that informants used the money for recruiting and growing their organizations, but they're accusing the SPLC of essentially deceiving donors by not telling them that some of their funds were secretly being used.
That's right. If you are spending money donating it to anti-racist organizations, they are not only are they propping up the racism, but they are using your donations to fund racism so that they can make believe they're fighting it.
To fund these extremist activities. In one instance, the DOJ says an SPLC employee encouraged 2 KKK members to stay in the movement even though they wanted to leave. The 2 were allegedly offered a 12...
So literally, the SPLC, people were like trying to leave the KKK. They were trying to get clean. They were like, yo, holy shit, black people are awesome. All right, we like the Jews now. They were trying to leave. Right, and then the SPLC was like, no, you have somebody, stay in the KKK, just burn a cross on some black guy's lawn. Burn a cross on his lawn. It would be awesome. And they were like, you know what, fuck it, we'll do it. And this is insane.
$1,200 monthly salary as informants, money that they then used to attend extremist rallies. Per the DOJ, an SPLC worker was aware one of the informants used donors' money to purchase material.
Give me a baseball bat. I'm gonna go get me another gun.
For others.
Interesting.
Where's my baseball bat?
Wow, isn't that funny? Isn't it weird how that happened? Damn. So they were out there using donors, like anti-racist, libtard donors, giving them money, and they would take that money, and they would literally use that money to create the fucking white pointy hats. Isn't that insane?
Reimbursed by the SPLC.
In many such cases, it's because actually the right wing in America is not very racist. Yeah, the right wing in America doesn't want to bring people into our country that come from third world shitholes where they think rape is cool because, you know, we're anti-rape. Anti-rape is not the same as being racist. Now, according to the left, that is true, and that's because they're pro-rape. So obviously they want to take that stance. So like it's a brutal tug of war we have here between the anti-rapists that wants to not import people where rape is a sport into our country. Then you have the pro-rapists that want to open the border and bring in all the rapists. Like, so, you know, I'm just trying to understand what we're dealing with here, and I think that's more accurate. Now, a massive India H-1B visa fraud ring was just busted. Nearly 90% of India's visa applications contain fraud, right? This was absolutely massive, and this is one of the things that, thank God, we have Donald Trump as president. Dude. Under Kamala, whatever the fuck, what do you want to fucking pronounce it? This shit would have just skyrocketed.
The holders since 2015. Over 70% came from India and nearly 12% from China. And when you zoom in on this map, you can see where most are being hired. The dark red spots show a high density of H-1B visa holders. And now we're learning more about the fraud within the program. One former official tells Newsweek that up to 90% of applications, 90% from India, contain fraudulent documents or involve unqualified applicants. And finance law enforcement in India claim it has uncovered a network of universities that produce fake degrees which were possibly used to obtain these high-skilled H-1B visas, including one school which allegedly stole over 36,000 fake degrees, sold I should say. It cost as little as $1,400 for one of those. And while these are supposed to be high-skilled employees, during almost all of Biden's time in office, 83% got junior or entry-level positions.
Weird.
And now Texas is taking action, cracking down on those abusing the program.
Isn't that weird? You mean to tell me that people are abusing these programs to invade our country and completely and utterly steal our jobs and create their little ethnic enclaves based on fraud to take us over from the inside? You mean the thing that we've been warning people about forever and people have been saying, oh, you're just saying that because you're racist? No, it's not racist to not want our country to get taken over by third world savages that shouldn't be here to begin with. In fact, you're racist if you even acknowledge the fact that different ethnicities actually do prioritize their own ethnicities over others. You're the racist if you think that different cultures specifically want to hire people from their own cultures instead of want to prop up somebody else's. You're the racist if you think that tribalism is real. This is how they've always shut you down. They just put a label on you, all right? They make you sound like some sort of monster because you recognize, you know, blatant reality, and we just move on. Listen, man, I'm not even saying it's bad that people look out for the interests of their own tribe. I think that's natural, actually. But that doesn't negate the fact that we shouldn't be bringing in tribes. We shouldn't be bringing in whole ass fucking tribes in the middle of fucking nowhere. we are two different. We're arguing on different lines here. It's discrimination for white people to want to hire white people. Actually, not really. It's, I think, natural. Just like it's natural that white people want to live among white people, and black people want to live among black people, and Jews want to live among Jews. This is normal. It's natural. You have similar culture value sets to the people around you, to your neighbors. And so, yeah, it is natural that you're going to bring in a ton of Indians and they're going to elect Indians and they're going to try to bring in more Indians. I think that's totally natural. That said, that doesn't mean I have to make believe I like it. Like, man, dude, it is tiring to make believe it's not. Meanwhile, they're still trying to steal the election in California. All right, if you remember, Spencer Pratt had 28% on the first day. And here we are a few days later with also 28%, but now Nithya Raman, the third place candidate's up to 25% because of late mail-in ballots. Right, election day, Raman got third, Pratt got first. Regular mail-ins and early to vote, Raman got third, Pratt got second. Late mail, she's almost beating Karen Bass for first.
Raman are battling it out for the second spot in the runoff, with the right to face Karen Bass.
Who will it be? Madeline Rivera joining us now from Washington with the very latest. Good morning,
Who will it be? Can they steal the election? Or maybe they can't. And it's pretty insane that it's happening right in front of our eyes. Steve Hilton, the guy who ran for governor in California, he's saying that India counts 640 million ballots in one day. And here it's 35 days and they haven't, and they can't count in 35 days an election in California?
To this absolute shambles of an election count. It's actually way worse than the president just mentioned. It's not 6 or 7 or 8 days. Here's from the Secretary of State's website today, 35 days.
Oh!
That's the plan. 35.
How is that fucking not rigged? How could you possibly make believe this isn't rigging it?
Days. This is an absolute shambles, a humiliation for California. It is making our state a laughing stock here in America and around the world. We have less than 10 million votes cast in this election in California, and it's going to take them a month to count them. India, 640 million. They do it in a day. States here in America. Look at Florida, how quickly they get their count out.
Yeah, it's so weird, isn't it? It's almost like they need the time to properly cheat. The fact that people are still taking this seriously at face value is insane and embarrassing. Now, Hassan Piker, everyone's favorite libtard, he's been having a really rough day. Now he's threatening to sue everybody for things. You know, he wants people to go to jail and to die, and he's really been crashing out lately.
This isn't a free speech issue. This is people are fucking getting way too comfortable slandering and saying whatever they want about people online under the guise of free speech.
There's lots of videos shitting on me on the internet.
By the way, this guy literally calls, ironically, he's the last person who should be calling anybody a fucking pedophile, given his Reddit, his Reddit accounts that were unearthed, but he also literally calls every person that he fucking hates a pedophile.
Any evidence for this? Or is this just slander? Is he saying that, oh, I don't like the way I'm slandered because this guy calls everybody a pedophile? Any evidence of this?
All the goddamn time. Talking about slander. You want to talk about fucking defamation?
All right, let's do it.
I have his ass dead to rights.
Okay.
There's a literal article that he read about the fucking brothel.
Oh, he read an article out loud about a brothel?
That I went to in 2010 that got raided in 2016, knowing full well that the accusations by the state were wrong and that the brothel was able to successfully sue the fucking state. He knows the truth.
Yeah, because that one raid from the government was wrong, but there was a child caught getting sex trafficked in that brothel that Hassan Piker went to, and there are also allegations made that Hassan himself slept with a 15-year-old in that brothel, which he never, ever engaged with. So you're just lying here.
Truth. Okay? And yet he still participates in this fucking slander over and over again.
Except it's not slandered. He read an article about you going to a brothel, true, that sex trafficked a child, true, and that allegedly you slept with a 15-year-old. What do you want me to say? Like, none of this has been debunked at all. You're just a freak.
He should be feeling real happy that I don't fucking pursue.
So sue him. So pursue him. You want to teach him a lesson? You're worth $50 million. Sue him. You can't, because you're going to lose miserably?
Do this kind of shit.
So sue him.
He got banned from Celebrity Poker for calling a woman a prostitute? Jesus Christ.
Cinema. Fighting the evil Diddy Piker and restoring common sense one episode at a time.
Like even that, like calling me Diddy Piker.
What's wrong with calling you Diddy Piker?
Like that's slander.
How is that slander? He has literally gone to Diddy parties. He admitted it on his stream that he's been to Diddy parties. Their New York Post article documented how he's been to multiple Diddy parties. He has been to multiple Diddy parties. Calling him Diddy Piker, by the way, a term that I have coined, I just have to say, is based as fuck, actually.
It's total slander.
It's slander to call him Diddy Piker, a guy who went to multiple Diddy parties.
You know?
10 out of 10
is defamation.
Would recommend. But seriously, thank you guys for all the support. I could not have done it without you. Stay tuned for the greatest entertainment humanity has ever known.
Do you feel like I'm crazy for being alarmed and scared and worried about the stalker here?
Right, so this is him saying anyone that ever makes a video on him is a stalker, and it alarms and scares him. You should really lock them up because I'm scared it alarms and getting stalked. Says the guy who slanders everybody, including me, by the way. He called me a pedophile. Obviously not true. Bro, so bad that people call him Diddy Piker.
Walked into this like back like sphere Epcot looking thing in the back of like the house that P. Diddy was renting for his and was throwing after.
Oh, so you went to P. Diddy's party in a house he was renting?
Parties at Coachella, and they were playing like these crazy things for people who are high. Not me, of course. I had only eaten portobello mushrooms. And one of the images that they were playing was like this little girl, this like supposedly attractive very young girl, like opening up a Christmas gift.
Interesting. So Hassan Piker is very, very mad. People call him Diddy Piker, and that's slander. Meanwhile, he openly admits that he went to P. Diddy's parties and houses that he rented with sexualized images of young children. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Sorry, man. You ain't making it out of this one. Right? And he doesn't stop. He keeps crying out about this. Just endless clips of him talking about how he wants to sue everybody. He wants to sue everybody.
Said exactly. Different purpose means transformative. Klein argued himself into losing. Is he being fleeced by his lawyers?
Now, the funniest part of this is, according to this argument, I should be able to react to whatever movie or TV show I want to on stream ever, and no actual television company or broadcasting company or Netflix or any of these fucking retard distribution companies should have any complaints whatsoever. If you could just react to something and criticize it while you're watching it, and that makes it fair use automatically, even though you directly state that you're watching it to steal it from the original source, then everything's fair use.
Dude, can you imagine thinking? By the way, this is Israel mindset.
That's right. It's the Jews. It's Israel mindset to think that you could sue people for stealing your content. It's Israel mindset. I just have to say, I love that everything is Israel to this guy. Bro, Israel, Netanyahu, the fucking boogeyman of boogeymen for this fucker. It's insane. Now, this is a massive teen takeover at Clearwater Beach in Florida because the left continues to be violent because they like violence. Teen takeover at Clearwater Beach in Florida led to a 17-year-old being hospitalized with gunshot wounds. Teen takeover just, by the way, means black people rioting. I'm just trying to translate it. This isn't being racist. This is just what's happening.
Oh my God.
This is just normal and you're racist if you disagree. All right, now this guy, he went undercover at leftist training classes outside ICE Newark, where Hassan Piker actually went to protest, where rioters were each handed $100 of equipment to pretend to be medics. Pretend to be medics. Look at this shit, dude.
You are not qualified to do anything.
Right, look at that. Look at that. They're just getting free shit. And you're going to tell me that these are organic protests? Bro, they're well-funded, organized insurrections in our country, and it's insane. You know?
Fuck, I got nothing I can do right now.
Likely to commit sexual offenses than Brits, leftist nutcase.
Or what? 20 times more likely to commit sexual offenses than the Brits? Yeah, native Brits.
That's just true. That's objectively true.
That colonized the whole world, you mean? That raped and pillaged the whole world to get the power that they have? The Brits, yeah. Yeah, the Brits that did that?
Yeah, the Brits that colonized the entire world, those are the guys that commit crimes approximately 5% the amount per capita of the retards that they're bringing, the savages, yeah.
You guys have the audacity to say that the Afghans and Somalis did what?
How dare you complain that you get raped? Your great-great-great-great-grandfather made a country in Africa slightly more livable. That's right, baby.
It's not audacity, it's just a fact. So is it not a fact? Is it not a fact that y'all colonized the world?
Who's y'all?
Through rape, murder, and pillaging? Right or wrong?
Actually, most of the rape was happening on the other side, but we don't need to talk about that.
That was true, yeah. All right, then. So what are you talking about? So what are you talking about then?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
How dare you?
Aren't the British people the people that freed all the slaves? Like, why are these people so mad? They freed the slaves. Who the fuck do you think sold the slaves to the Brits? Like, let's be real here.
How dare you? Why are you shouting? What are you? Because you're. That's why. How dare you? You talking facts? Let's talk facts. Let's talk.
He's just like, yo, did you know that crime statistics are real? And bro just goes in there.
So do something about it. Do something about it, Brit. Do something about it, Brit. I'm here to ask questions. How'd you get into this country? What are you talking about? How dare you? Why are you getting so angry? Because you're a priest.
Oh, it's because he likes rape. He's a leftist. Leftists love rape. They do it. It's their favorite thing.
Liar. You know you're a liar. You're a liar.
You're a liar when you state these objective facts. Yeah, because your ancestor did something that made Africa livable. Yeah, fuck you for making Africa livable. We like what Africa was all about, rape and sex slavery and torture and mud huts. Right, that's when Africa was at its finest. Those fucking Brits came and made roads and made laws and shit. Oh, unbelievable.
Liar. Would you like me to show you the You're a liar. Bro, I just asked you, what the did the Brits do to have the power they have?
I just asked you a question, bro.
That question. Answer that question. Answer that question. How do the Brits get their power?
Totally reasonable people. Yeah, absolutely. We should just talk them out of these things, right? So happy Pride Month, everybody. HRT just effectively got banned in Oklahoma. HRT is the hormone replacement therapy. Drugs to drugs to it's castration drugs, basically. So this is someone crashing out about how it got banned in Oklahoma. This is so sad. All right, Foxy Marxist, communist symbol, Hamas symbol, transgender symbol, says this is genocide. Trans people are facing genocide. Holy shit, I was already having a good day, but this is insane. Now listen, I am not saying or supporting the idea of genociding the trans people, okay? I am against that completely. I am, however, saying if that did happen, we'd live in paradise. But I'm not saying I want that. I don't want that. I'm actually saying in no uncertain terms, I don't want that or support that or condone it. I am, however, saying if it would happen, God forbid, society would improve by like a vast metric of, yeah, but I don't want it to happen, to be clear. Now, I'm obviously joking around here because this isn't genocide. All right, it's not trans genocide if you stop giving women drugs to make them think they're men, or give men drugs to castrate them and make them think they're women. Genocide isn't when you tell men that you can't be women. All right, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be that guy, bro. Just look at this fucking profile. This is incredible. She, her, bipolar, depression, lesbian, asexual, place for my sanity.
Trying to find the lone cop.
You know, like, listen, man, what am I even supposed to say about this shit? Like, bro, these people shouldn't have rights. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking, obviously. And you just scroll down, the immediate reply. It's like the pedophile slogan. Banning retard drugs is not a genocide, okay? What the fuck are we doing? Now, I have to show you the left's new hero. The new hero of the left. Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Right? Speaking of drug addicts, all right, once we're talking about transgender people. Speaking of drug addicts,
I just jacked a guy and took his shit a minute ago. Cause I thought he was gonna have a pocket full of weed, but he didn't.
Wait, what? What is this? Trump hasn't made a public appearance in 8 days. This is after the unscheduled visit to the hospital.
Anyway, since this, he made multiple appearances.
Brother in Christ, he's speaking in the Oval Office right now.
No!
That's clearly a...
There's the lone cop.
Bro. Hunter Biden.
Serious.
Their new crackhead has emerged. The left is back, boys.
Pete, do you not see that this is a clone? Hunter Biden versus Eric Trump in the octagon. Hunter Biden says, I'm in. Why are you not in prison? Because I got a pardon.
True!
We know.
True.
We know. Everybody knows this. Oh my God. Self-reported. There's a video of you snorting coke off a hooker's ass, Hunter. Let me ask you a question, Mike. If I'm telling you I smoked crack, why in the world would I lie about snorting it? There's plenty of pictures of me smoking crack, doing all kinds of stupid things with all sorts of people, rarely with clothes on, but not snorting cocaine. God,
yeah, I believe
only have one word for this, and you're not gonna like it. Presidential. Hunter.
He might shitpost his way. All right, the left loves retarded people.
Biden 2028, let's smoke the competition. He replied, I know this may sound petty, but I can't stand when people put Photoshop meth pipe in my mouth. A crack pipe doesn't have the little bowl at the end. This is why we can't trust AI. Please make the appropriate edit. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Are you seeing the vision yet? I told you guys. Yeah, let the man cook. Wouldn't be the first time. And a fucking picture he has on Polymarket Democratic primary section. What is this picture? Come on, where's Hunter Biden? Damn.
No!
There he is! It's probably not going to happen in 2028, but I think it will probably happen the time after that. Then he will have built up at that point to full power. I'm going to do a poll. I know you might not want to vote for any of them, but I'm actually really curious what the responses are going to be.
Hunter Biden's going to win for sure. Wow.
You see that? That 3 retards versus a crackhead? That's right. And I know this might sound crazy. I legitimately think that Hunter Biden probably will have more bipartisan support than any of the Democrat frontrunners right now. Congratulations, Hunter. What? Oh my God. Wait, Hunter Biden is sober now?
Hey everybody, just a quick message to say thank you to everybody who has messaged me today on 7 years clean and sober. I'm more proud of that than anything I've ever done in my life. And I just want everybody to know that is still out there sick and suffering, there's a way out.
I told y'all he's getting ready to run.
I'm so proud to be a part of this community.
I want y'all to know, like, it's going to happen.
It's scary.
Can't stop this.
That's true. That's the left. The left is like, holy shit, a crackhead. I found my calling. Let's go.
What everybody has given me. So thank you.
The left always scurries back to just putting a white man in charge. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Presidential election. Are you ready, Patriots? Let's fucking go.
I think it's gonna happen. Let the country go down in flames for memes. Well, it's gonna go. It's gonna go up in smoke, actually. But it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah, sort of. Listen, man. You know, a lot of people think that it's just a pipe dream. But like, if you look at
God
the left
damn.
other candidates, you have to start shaking. You have to wonder what they're actually going to do. But in the most viral story today in the country, the actual court case for Carmelo Anthony, the guy who, in my opinion, murdered Austin Metcalf right at a track meet like a year ago, is actually going on, and he is getting smoked, obliterated. He's getting absolutely slaughtered in court.
Track meet murder.
And let's just say the relatively ghetto community in the country is very unhappy about this. They would really like a black guy to stab a white guy and get away with it with complete impunity. But it doesn't seem like that's happening. They're very mad about it. They think that black people should actually be able to stab white people as much as they want.
Trial in Texas, new testimony from teenage teammates of Austin Metcalf revealing more details about what they say.
What do we got?
To the deadly stabbing.
Oh boy!
Chandler Painter is here with the details on the trial of the suspect, Carmelo Anthony. Hey, Chandler.
Hey, Charlie. Good morning. So the jury heard testimony from law enforcement officers, school officials, first responders, and perhaps most importantly, the fellow students who witnessed.
All right, we got witnesses and everything.
Witness testified that he saw Carmelo Anthony walk under the Memorial High School tent, even though he didn't go to that high school. He said Anthony was asked 15 times to leave the tent, but refused, including Austin Metcalf.
All right, we got George Floyd saying I can't breathe. And we got Carmelo Anthony saying I can't leave. Yeah.
This witness went on to testify, quote, I remember Carmelo refusing to leave and Austin saying, you need to leave, and Carmelo saying, touch me and find out. The prosecutor asked, anyone tried to gang up on him? The witness said, no, sir. Who was provoking, the prosecutor asked. Carmelo Anthony, he replied. The witness said, quote, Austin leans in to push him and Carmelo stabs him.
Wow.
The jury's also said
that's pretty bad.
Body cam footage from first responders yesterday. It shows Austin's twin brother Hunter sobbing and screaming through tears as he attempts to revive his brother, the victim, and they were unsuccessful.
Just because a fucking savage had to stab this guy. And then the savage's brother decided he was going to actually make some sort of GoFundMe and raise $500,000 for this fucking criminal.
It also shows the then 17-year-old Anthony during his arrest, where he told police, quote, I'm not alleged, I did it, he put his hands on me. I told him not to, he put his hands on me. Anthony's defense attorneys argue that Anthony stabbed Metcalf, who was unarmed, in self-defense.
Yeah, sure.
Between 5 to 99 years in prison if he is convicted.
Hey, give him the max. Give him more than the max. Hang him in public. This shit's insane. Right. They found 4 black kids to testify against Carmelo Anthony. This is so sad. This is so sad. Black witnesses. We watched a psychopath brutally murder our teammate and friend for no reason. Black Twitter. I can't believe they would do this to the black community. Like, bro, this shit is worse than any Nazi propaganda on the planet. Leftists celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk, or some black people celebrating the murder of Austin Metcalf. That shit is more radicalizing than generations of Nazi propaganda. You have got to stop this. It is insanity. Complete insanity.
Carmelo Anthony's defense is completely falling apart in the murder trial of Austin Metcalf. Witnesses are coming up and confirming Anthony was asked 15 times to leave the tent. The witnesses said Anthony provoked Metcalf, and after Anthony was pushed, he pulled out a knife and committed the crime, and then he ran away. It was not self-defense. Yeah, you're gonna have a really hard uphill battle proving that was self-defense. I mean, let's be fucking honest here. I did see actually a post about this.
If evidence does come out that Carmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're gonna stand by ours regardless.
That's right. It's all tribalism, baby. Obviously, not everyone does this. Obviously, I think based conservative black people are fucking awesome, just in general.
What is it?
But
Fat Ninja.
This shit? No, this gotta go.
Stand by theirs.
You are not someone that can actually join our society. All right? Our society rejects you.
Stand by ours regardless. I gotta think.
Stand by ours regardless. Even if you just went and stabbed an innocent white guy for no reason and murdered him, we'll still stand by ours. That shit fucking sucks. And that is more radicalizing than any Nazi propaganda you could possibly come up with.
Like, okay, what did you do to him or whatever to cause this to happen, the reaction?
Maybe it's just because he's a psychopath murderer. Maybe that's why it happened.
And again, if my kid was Carmelo and I feel like his back was up against the wall, well, I'm gonna tell you straight up, better mine than yours. Better mine than yours. A black boy, allegedly murdered, and I say allegedly, heavy on the allegedly, allegedly murdered somebody. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, this is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn.
Who wouldn't give a damn?
Let me say this. Let's say the community.
By the way, this sentiment is disturbingly common. True. Get this straight. This dude goes and kills somebody, and now the family's gonna get paid for it? Keep your head up, keep your faith. Free Carmelo. This baby was bullied and defending himself. They want to paint Carmelo as a gangster. He stabbed somebody in the chest with a knife. What are we doing here? This is a big problem. It's a huge problem.
If Carmelo Anthony was the one stabbed and killed by Austin Metcalf.
Again, this is some low IQ, tribalistic shit. All right, and we see it a lot. A lot. I'm not gonna get involved and get all racist up in here. But it was a Jewish doctor, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Damn.
Nobody go to a track meet to murder anybody, okay?
Except for Carmelo Anthony.
Come on, that's an accident. Self-defense, that's what it was. First degree.
Was it an accident or was it self-defense? They don't even care. Reality doesn't matter to these people.
Murder? Come on.
The amount of this is so common. They did this with O.J. Simpson too.
Justice system always over-respond when it comes to us. It was
what are you fucking talking about? Like, again, that's also not true.
It was self-defense. He was wrestling with two guys. I don't know what the parameters of it, but it was two people, 2 against 1. That's self-defense.
That's how bad it is. There's no defense to this. They played the body cam. Oh, did they really? Emotional moment in Carmelo Anthony's murder trial. Tears started flowing as prosecutors played the body cam footage of paramedics trying to save Austin Metcalf from a fatal stab wound.
And also for context, there were multiple witnesses testifying today.
More than 10 of these students and teammates. Students testified that Austin Metcalf repeatedly asked Anthony to leave. Several were called.
There was another cop there, damn it.
And find out. Metcalf tried to avoid a fight, telling
I didn't know there was another cop there.
I'm not going to fight you at a track meet. They testified that moments later, Anthony pulled out a 5-inch folding knife from his backpack and stabbed Metcalf in the chest. The witness replied, "I see the hole in his chest and blood." He starts screaming for help.
The thing is that they could literally watch Carmelo Anthony stab this dude to death, and if he said that, you know, he felt nervous or something like that, they would still let him off. They're literally just racist, and they're going to show preferential treatment to people.
By the way, they don't even need the excuse. The self-defense thing is just an excuse. They don't actually care. They just want to let him off anyway, because they view. When I say they, I don't mean black people like as a whole. I mean specifically this mentality, which exists among a scary amount of people in the African American community. I'm not saying all, not even saying most, but a lot. They view it as some sort of revenge against the evil white man. All right, that this guy just walked up to a random unarmed kid and stabbed him and murdered him in broad daylight.
People that are their race every single time. It's that simple. Like, they literally say it. They just said it there. And obviously, by the way, this isn't, of course, all black people or all white people that do this, but I think that very clearly one type of this is very more accepted to be said out
I would say so too.
loud, and it's a huge problem. The OJ trial was the same thing.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we got people doing this. Now, I would argue that this culture is actually exactly what led to his stabbing. He knew he'd be a hero among his community by killing the evil white guy because the white guy existed. All right, now, I'm not gonna lie. You know, a friend of mine just sent me these clips, and you know, here's a clip of a child that's gonna 0% chance this child grows up to be a normal human being.
Not at all, I'm recording.
Fuck you.
You got anger issues.
Fuck you.
We need help.
What am I looking at?
I'm calling the cops.
All of them, I don't give a what was you talking about?
Man, I wonder why the cops end up getting called on black people so much. It's probably racism. Like, again, I think it's a fatherlessness. I think it's a cultural issue. I don't think it's like genetic or anything, which is how people always like try to twist it. Although these are outbursts that tend to be specifically among people with, you know, let's just say slightly lower IQs, and that there is a genetic element to that one. But you look at this, and you don't expect anything from this kid, who probably doesn't have a father, by the way, just stereotyping a little bit. And it's just absolutely abominable, because the more of these clips you see, the worse it gets. All right? Like, dude, I saw this clip. I was just losing my mind. All right, so here you have a family, all right, and here you have a kid, and they all know what's going on, and this kid is trying to rob this lady over here. All right? Like, just look at it. They all know what's happening. It's a whole family event. It's a family event, bro. And, like, I don't even know what to say. No dad, of course, in the picture, obviously. They take the purse and they just leave. They all come together. They all leave together. What the fuck, man? This is insanity. And again, I think partially, like, some of the cope is, well, we're just taking back what's rightfully ours for the little white man or whatever. But this shit is toxic and needs to get burnt out of society completely. So the Austin Metcalf situation, getting murdered, allegedly, by Carmelo Anthony, you know, the pro's like, hey man, you're in the wrong seat, and his responses are gonna fucking kill you. And then you have, like, large swaths of this community actually going out there to defend him. All right, so I feel like the only way to appropriately do this is to look at some, to actually cover this properly, is for, to look at some black-on-black violence. All right, here we got Officer Tatum. I've seen some clips of this guy. I don't really watch his videos. He seems based as fuck. He seems absolutely awesome, just like a genuinely awesome guy. All right, so he's covering it. So we'll do some black-on-black violence so that I don't get flamed for this one. Like I already didn't say enough.
You had no business with a knife. You had no business doing what you were doing in the first place. So how is it fair that this kid's life is completely gone forever and you get to live because somebody feels sorry for you? Well, I feel sorry for the kid that died.
By the way, look, I'm just like looking at his tattoos. All right, so here we have a man, obviously a Christian man who preaches Christian values, I assume, and he's just like a nice, good, put-together individual, fine, nice, awesome, badass dude. All right, and then you have the other guy who comes from fucking retard land, and he absolutely sucks, and everyone else in retard land is defending him. Again, this is me saying I'm so anti-racist that I think y'all could do better. But if you want to behave like monkeys with jungle laws, I'm not saying that the prison population is overwhelmingly full of black. Yeah, I wonder why, man. And to be clear, this wasn't
Lone
calling
cop.
black people monkeys or anything. God forbid.
Yeah, hurry up and search me, and then turn your back on me.
Stab a random guy just because he looked at you funky in a sports tent, that's monkey behavior.
Tell us more about the surveillance video because your
Another gun.
We're very interested.
Yeah.
What were you able to see?
Racking
And
up the
then I also
guns.
understand there was a reaction from the victim's family.
The narrative that we've heard from the beginning since April of 2025 that Carmelo Anthony was under that tent for no good reason. He was just there, and then Austin Metcalf and his friends came up to approach him to say, get out from under the tent, to which Carmelo Anthony, the prosecution says, got aggressive, reached in that bag, pulled out a knife, and stabbed Austin Metcalf.
You cannot stab someone in the chest and kill them because they touch you. I think a lot of what this case is going to come down to is going to remind us of what happened in the O.J. Simpson case. The race card is going to be played.
Let me tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
Tickets have a way of coming out. You can bury them.
And it's absolutely insane that this even needs to be said. Look, man, I'm not racist. So when I see a black guy kill a white guy, I want him to go to jail or die. Preferably execution, honestly, but no one asked my opinion. And when I see a white guy murder a black guy for no reason, I want him to die too. Now it would be a lot less common because it happens to be the other way a lot more, suspiciously and probably by coincidence. But I am tired of making believe that this shit is normal. And just by calling out the tribalism, I'm immediately slandered as some sort of racist. Dude, it's just being honest. What do you want me to do? Lie? Yes. They want you to tell it. They want me to say that women can be men and men can be women. And tribalism
All right,
doesn't exist.
where's my bat?
Communities
We
are
can't be having this.
except for white people who have privilege. I'm not gonna say it. It's not true. What do you want from me? All right, anyway, back to black-on-black violence. I ain't getting involved.
This is Carmelo Anthony's updates from the trial. Okay, let's be very quick. Roll it.
A jury has been chosen to decide the closely watched murder trial of Carmelo Anthony.
More than 500 people were on the list of potential jurors, but the jury will not include anyone who is black, despite this case being racially charged.
W, let's go. Let's fucking go. Because it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Race is irrelevant, right, guys?
Fox 4's Alex Boyer joining us now. Alex.
Hey guys, good evening. That's right. You know, and I can tell you that a court spokesperson confirmed that there are indeed no black jurors on this panel. And I can tell you that before this jury panel was seated, the defense objected to 3 black women being struck by the prosecution. Now, the prosecution contended that it was...
That's right. Dude, if I was that judge, I would also use all 3 of my strikes on black people without even a shadow of a doubt. I don't even want to risk the tribalism. Not saying that there would be, but I wouldn't even want to take that chance.
Due to the fact that the women were educators, noting that this incident...
Oh, they were educators. You're giga-fucked if you have one of those on the jury.
...happened at a school function with...
Educators is basically equivalent to a minority did a crime. Well, he's probably the victim.
...young students. The defense then pointed out that those were 3 of those were 100% of the available black jurors in what's called the strike zone, adding that the state struck all 3. The judge went out and reviewed their questionnaires and came back and said that the defense's challenge to the 3 jurors being dismissed was denied. The judge said the court found that the state had non-racial means to strike the juror.
So, you live in Frisco, Texas. This is in Plano, Frisco. The amount of black people live in Plano, Frisco is very small. So when you start to get a jury of your peers, it's not a lot of black people that live there anyway. So you're not gonna get a lot of black jurors. The argument that it's a problem because there's no black jurors is an argument of a person who's a racist. Because to be quite honest, white people sometimes advocate more aggressively for black people than black people do. And these white people that carry this what we call white guilt. And they want to be a white savior. So sometimes these white people are more radical to support black people than they shouldn't, more so than black people
Stacking
are
up
willing to support
guns,
black people
man.
when they shouldn't.
I'm gonna
So
be running
just
out of
because
places to
everybody's
store
white
them.
don't mean that necessarily it's a biasy, unless you're a racist. And you believe that every white person can't be impartial when it comes to stuff.
That's right.
That's
based as fuck. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad he did. That's right. Anyone that complains about the jury not having black people is just a racist and think that white people are all bad. He's just completely correct here. I was hoping he was going to say it.
Really to me. But some people are still making an argument. Let's get to Camelo's defense plan and roll it.
The defense strategy is already clear.
Self-defense is a protection that applies to each and every one of us.
Explain your self-defense.
Carmelo Anthony.
Self-defense of going in a place where I'm not supposed to be and stabbing an innocent guy just because I felt like it. Yep, self-defense.
His defense attorney, Mike Howard, asked the public to not rush to conclusions before hearing all the evidence surrounding the deadly confrontation between Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf.
This is a tragedy all the way around.
I gotta get back and unload the trucks.
Yes, it's a tragedy when your son is a murderer, I guess. What does that have to do with anything?
Rushing to judgment, you know,
lawyer speak.
Trial by
he doesn't believe what he's saying.
Public perception and trial by media is not how we ensure justice is done.
Legal expert Keith Harris says the defense has to show why the jury should consider self-defense. According to the arrest affidavit, Metcalf was unarmed, while Anthony brought a knife to a track meet.
I think that that's ultimately going to be something that a jury also considers as to whether or not he even should have had it to be.
Bro went to a place where he's not supposed to be to beef with some random guy who tells him to leave 15 times. And then he says, you know, touch me and see what happens. And he stabs him in the heart. Sorry, actually. No, that guy's a fucking monster. He's a savage. He needs to die. Yeah, we need to execute him in public.
Begin with?
Police say the confrontation...
I told you, man, I'm an Old Testament extremist here, all right? A man that takes a life needs to have his life taken in return. Now, I'm really tired of this. And this was obviously intentional. Intentional with infinite witnesses. Right? You can't argue, oh, it's just circumstantial evidence. 15 eyewitnesses all say this happened. Get out of here. He admitted it. He admitted it to the police officer. Yeah, I killed him. Sorry, bro.
The began when it was raining and Anthony sat under the tent where Metcalf and his team were sitting. Police say Metcalf asked Anthony to move from under the tent. Officer Taylor Wetzel wrote in an affidavit that a witness told him Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and warned Metcalf, "Touch me again and see what happens." Witnesses told police Metcalf then touched or grabbed Anthony while trying to move him, and Anthony allegedly...
You know, because he wasn't supposed to be there.
...pulled out a knife, stabbed Metcalf once in the chest. Metcalf's twin brother, Hunter, was standing next to him.
We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." And he's like, "Make me move." Also grabbed his backpack.
Harris says those facts could become critical for jurors.
The prosecution could say that he was kind of asking for it. I think the flip side for the defense, when you think about it, these are 17-year-old boys. And I was 17 at one point in time. And so you think about...
Yeah, I was also 17. I never even had the impulse to stab someone in the heart.
17-year-old boys don't make the best decisions.
Don't make the best decisions. He stabbed an innocent guy in the heart. Hello?
Arrest affidavit, Officer Eduardo Cortez said, as we were walking him, Anthony, to the squad car. The suspect was emotional and said, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to."
Yeah, but that's not threatening your life. Self-defense is when your life is at risk. What are we talking about?
Another officer later wrote, Anthony made another spontaneous statement and asked if what happened could be considered self-defense. Harris says those statements are important because they may help Anthony's attorneys get...
Look, man, if it was actually self-defense, he wouldn't need to ask, could we count this as self-defense?
It's self-defense in front of a jury.
If the officers testify to what he told them as soon as they got there, that's going to be the scintilla of evidence that defense would need to get self-defense in the charge.
As a defense attorney, they're going to try every avenue. That's their job. The truth will come out.
Under Texas law, once self-defense is raised, prosecutors must disprove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Harris says the defense may argue Anthony reacted emotionally and impulsively in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, that's still murder.
We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of...
We believe in the Constitution. Which is why my boy, my little angel, going to stab a random white kid on the street is actually a good thing. And we're going to raise $500,000 now.
This is the thing that I said before that put an icing on the cake. I don't know how the trial is going to end up going, but I think that once you pull a knife out on a person who does not have a weapon and you say, touch me again and see what happens, therefore you have now created premeditation. Because you could just move, but you don't want to move, and you're creating a scenario where you are not trying to.
Because of his ego. Let's be honest here. There are some big fucking egos in like a lot of these ghetto communities. Right, big fucking egos. You talking shit to me? Immediately pull out the fucking gun. You know, like, listen, man. We all know I'm right here. All right, dude had a big ego. Told him to leave. Immediately got all defensive because how dare you? You don't tell me what to do, man. Man, you don't tell me what to do, man. I don't want to do what you asked of me. All right, bro, I'm never gonna do shit. All right, I'm not gonna do what I'm told. All right, and then he told him, no, actually, you have to leave, and he pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the heart. All right, touch me, see what happens. And then he had to, you know, put something behind his words. You're gonna make him look stupid. You're gonna make him look bad. You're gonna make him look lame. Oh no, sir. Punishment to that is death. All right, and then he murdered her, in my opinion, allegedly.
To avoid a situation, you have a deadly weapon, and now you're gonna use it. Somebody grabbing you is not deadly force. Somebody pushing you is not deadly force.
Yeah, but it bruised his ego. Like, I'm just being honest here. That's what happened, in my opinion.
So if you're gonna use deadly force against somebody, it needs to be comparable. That means that you need to have a threat of deadly force in order for you to use a deadly weapon against somebody. If you have no threat of deadly force and you're welcoming somebody by saying, touch me again and see what happened, and then you go to kill that person, now you're in trouble for premeditation.
That's right.
And I'm sad for both of the boys. You know, I really am sad for Carmelo. If the other boy didn't die, I would think that they would give Carmelo another opportunity to let him do some rehabilitation, maybe see why he's so angry.
Yeah, they shouldn't, though. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Even if he just tries to kill him, they should lock him up forever. Nope.
Is he carrying a knife?
No, I don't care. I don't care why he was carrying a knife. It's the United States of America. You can carry knives, all right, in most places. All right, maybe not at a track meet or whatever, but it's not that he was carrying a knife. It's that he decided he was going to fucking stab that guy because he bruised his ego. Sorry, that's someone with zero impulse control and someone that should not be out on the streets. All right, if he wouldn't have murdered Austin Metcalf, he would have murdered someone else in a couple of years. All right, I'm sorry, bro. I ain't playing that game.
But since the other kid died, man, it's kind of hard to give you any leeway, man. You killed somebody. And you had no business with a knife, and you had no business doing what you were doing in the first place. So how is it fair that this kid's life is completely gone forever, and you get to live because somebody feels sorry for you? Well,
no, it's not about, like, how's it fair, this, that, the other. No, dude's a danger to society around him. He's someone with no impulse control whatsoever. Even if Austin Metcalf would have survived, he should still be locked away forever. But since he died, I think he should be executed. You see, I have a very different take here, I guess.
Feel sorry for the kid that died. All he was doing until you get him under his tent that belonged to him. And he died as a result.
Dude, just fucking tragic. It really is. What a horrible situation. And watching all these fucks decide that, oh, no, actually, we have to defend him. We have to defend him, actually. How dare you? How dare you call me out? I would defend him even if he didn't do self-defense. I would defend him anyway. That's right. Because if it's my boy or if it's your boy, of course I'm going to defend my boy. You are a fucking tribalistic barbarian if you think that way. Deuteronomy 16:19. Do not pervert justice or show partiality. Do not accept a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and twists the words of the innocent. Follow justice and justice alone, so that you may live and possess the land the Lord, your God, is giving you. I don't care about race. I don't care about socioeconomic backgrounds. I care about justice, and I care that this guy, Carmelo Anthony, murdered an innocent guy, an innocent kid, and now he should be executed in public for it. Race is irrelevant. You are the one who makes it relevant, and you make your entire fucking community look really, really bad right now. Maybe this tribalism shit works in fucking Africa, where you have some fucking warlord whose son commits a crime against some other tribe, and he's like, no, actually, we're not going to punish him because he's the son of the warlord. But in the United States of America, where every man is equal before God. That shit does not fly. Now, in the United Kingdom, they're having some issues as well. It's honestly insane how massive this movement got. Miguel Bosé, the biggest Spanish-language pop star of the last few decades, released a video taking a knee and putting his hand over his heart in honor of Henry Novak. This spread like a wildfire. Europe has never been more united. That's right. Everyone's been crying and screaming about the division and divisiveness and racism and shit like that. No, dude. Nothing has united the West like this situation of Henry Novak. All right? Now, for those of you that are unaware, this is the case of Henry Novak. I carry this for religious reasons, B2. Yeah, that's basically how all of Europe feels right now. So, essentially, in his final moments, Henry Novak told police officers 9 times, "I can't breathe." 4 times, he's been stabbed. In response, the police officer dragged him across the ground, handcuffed him, read him his rights, and said, "I don't think you have, mate." And then Henry Novak died after being stabbed 4 times because the police decided, we're going to believe the immigrant instead because he said you were racist, and therefore, we're just going to believe him. So J.D. Vance fucking dropped a nuke, and this is fire. I'm so happy he did this. Henry Novak died in the same way a civilization dies, abandoned, handcuffed by authorities who neither trusted nor cared for him, and accused of hate crimes he did not commit. His murder is as tragic as it is enraging. He should still be alive today, and he would be if the last few generations of European elites had stood their ground against the politics of self-hatred and mass invasion of migrants, many of whom despise the West, and the people who love it. He's right. Henry was far from the first to so needlessly lose his life, and I fear he won't be the last. Each time a life like his is lost, the proper response, the only response, is righteous anger. One of the most important things the Trump administration has proven to the world is that stopping the flow of mass migration and defending the national sovereignty is a matter of political will and leadership. Anything else is an excuse. He's right about this, by the way. Despite what anyone wants to say about Trump, he has absolutely normalized this rhetoric and this ideology. And the next generation is going to be way more right-wing than ever before, thanks to this guy. Right? And I give Trump insane props for that, by the way. Now, a lot of people say not enough deportations. You know, and I'm inclined to agree, don't get me wrong. But for the first time in my lifetime, we have net negative migration. And also, for the first time in my lifetime, do I see a nationalist movement actually valuing our culture based upon biblical values. And we don't want it tainted by infinite migration from the third world. It is because we love the West that we want to preserve it. We love our civilization, we love our country, we love our children, and nobody should die in the way that Henry Novak died. May God comfort those who loved him, and may God rest his soul. Just a fantastic tweet. 12 million views, 273,000 likes. All right, people are really resonating with this one. He dropped an absolute nuke. Rupert Lowe says, J.D. Vance speaks for far more British people than Keir Starmer does. True, by the way. And of course, Keir Starmer was very, very angry about this.
The second context, of course, is that we are in government. The J.D. Vance is in government. When you're on the backbenches or in opposition, you're free, frankly, to reflect on anything.
Of course. Now, the context to this is, Keir Starmer says, J.D. Vance was wrong to speak about Henry Novak from a different country. Trevor Phillips, isn't that hypocritical considering Keir Starmer spoke about George Floyd in a different country? David Lammy, he's like the fucking lackwit of Keir Starmer, says, but Keir was in opposition at the time, J.D. Vance is in government. That's the argument? Really, that's the argument? It's appropriate for Keir Starmer to do this whole George Floyd shit as a campaign, but it's inappropriate for J.D. Vance to say it because he's in the government. Can I just make something clear? I think condemning other nations is appropriate in general. All right? How many fucking times have we had to watch the Keir Starmer British government condemn the United States for violating the sovereignty of Venezuela or whatever the fuck when we captured Maduro, that complete fucking retard communist dictator? Now, how many times do we have to sit through all of these Euro-cuck nations sitting there and condemning us on their ivory towers of retards and globalism when we bomb terrorist pedophiles in Iran? All right? Dude, how many times have we seen European nations sit there and condemn Israel for killing terrorists or whatever the fuck? Condemning foreign nations is totally okay if you're a Euro-cuck globalist libtard. But if you are, God forbid, a right-wing nationalist, how dare you criticize us?
The second context, of course.
So his response is, the context is, but J.D. Vance is in government, how dare he?
Is that
fuck you.
We are in government. The J.D. Vance is in government. When you're on the backbenches or in opposition, you're free, frankly, to reflect on anything. But I think there is a distinction.
No, it's okay for the opposition to be irresponsible.
I think this is complete and utter horseshit, by the way. I would love it if our government fucking shit on these people for the way they've treated their country. I love the British people. I feel so bad that they have been absolutely savagely butchered by left-wing policies, importing infinite migrants and retards into their nation. Libtards really just throw stones from glass houses, and that is what they do best. All right, make this man prime minister already. So Bushra Shahid, all right, you know, she has papers that says she's British, so obviously she's British. You know nothing about Islam. As a Muslim woman, I'll tell you it is the most pro-woman religion to exist. Sexism exists because some men do not value women, and these men exist in all walks of life. Shitty politics for your shitty, ignorant followers. And Rupert Lowe responds with this image. God, it's just fucking cinema. It's so fucking good. He's just cooking! He's just cooking! Yes, exactly this. True. All right, now news, it has been confirmed that Vikram Digwa, the person that stabbed Henry Novak, filmed Henry Novak for 5 minutes after stabbing him, taunting him on camera as he collapsed to the floor. This guy needs to get publicly executed. We need to publicly execute these people. What are we even doing? And honestly, we should jail his brother also, who knew this was happening too. We should jail his mother too, you know, because she hid the knife, the murder weapon. Bro, we should deport the whole fucking family. There's no reason why these people should be in our nation. Like, let's be honest for a second, right? So, woke policing killed Henry Novak. Just look at the 6 anti-racism commitments. These are literal governmental commitments the police needs to take. Take a stand against racism in all forms. What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does that even mean? How about standing for justice? Proactively identify and tackle racial inequalities. All right, well, I mean, let's be real here. There was a racial inequality there because white people bad and Indian people good, so therefore you had to immediately defend that guy. Right? Reform policies that over-police or under-protect certain groups. Just be like, oh, that group commits more crimes, but you can't over-police them because that's racist. Partner with others to fix societal racial gaps. I guess that means be meaner to white people because white people actually want to get jobs and instead of other communities that just want to get infinite welfare. Deliver equality of outcomes by treating people differently based on race, needs, experience. Oh, that's really good, actually. That means that if you're in a community that commits more crimes, we need to arrest a per capita amount of people. Dude, Muslims are 4% of England, and they're 22% of inmates. So we're obviously making big mistakes here. Dick, so show transparency, leadership, measure anti-racism impact. Dude, this is just fucking horseshit. It's insane. How about just treat people based on their actions? Whatever happened to, like, actual anti-racist values? Like, all men are created in the image of God, and therefore treat them for their actions. If you're a brutal psychopath killer, we're going to treat you that way. If your community has a lot more brutal psychopath killers than other communities, well, then we're going to treat your community a lot worse than other communities. Like, this just makes sense. The racist standpoint is, oh, well, this community is just extra violent, so we're just going to have to, you know, just let it get away with it. No, that is being racist. That is basically saying, well, I guess they just can't control their actions. They just rape. It's what they do. It's their culture. What an absolute joke. Elon Musk retweeted this. He said, yes. Dude, I'm so glad that people are talking about this. Now, even Germany, the whole world was furious about Henry Novak. Two-tier policing exists. Two-tier tier. This is in Germany this is going on. And obviously the AfD party, which is what they call the far-right party in Germany, experienced an unprecedented surge in the polls this month and are 6 points ahead. You know, obviously Germans want remigration. Europe wants remigration. Europe realizes exactly what's being taken from them. All these years shitting on religious people and saying how Christianity is evil and biblical doctrine is archaic and barbaric, and they're enlightened and they know better. And this is the natural conclusion. Importing infinite retards to rape your culture. Absolutely wild seeing this. So now apparently someone attacked Vikram Digwa, the guy that stabbed Henry Novak. Apparently someone attacked him in prison. But I don't think that happened, mate. I don't think that happened, mate. So anyway, there was a debate on Piers Morgan about this, and dude, like, you don't even believe this. Like, it is shocking to believe that people like this exist, which is why I am super happy that we're going to be publicizing it.
Piers Morgan just had a panel on to debate the death of Henry Novak. This debate exposed a new level of stupidity.
Oh,
you have no police force at all.
All right, let's just understand. Let's just introducing the players. All right, we got Michael Knowles. He's a Catholic guy, very conservative fellow. All right, we got this dude. He's woke and a big BLM guy. All right, we got this guy, Ali Wajahat. I think he's a Pakistani Muslim. We got Dave Smith. He is a libertarian. All right, so let's just understand exactly the players before we get into the fact that we're debating a situation where an Indian migrant stabbed a British guy 5 times, called the cops, said that the British guy was racist, so the cops literally chained and dragged and handcuffed the guy who was stabbed 5 times across the pavement as he bled out and died, screaming, "I can't breathe," with the police saying, "I don't believe you. I don't think you have been stabbed, mate." Right? This is the most open and closed obvious situation of all time. You have to be a special level of retarded to have any other opinion about this one.
That is what I'm saying.
This is what is at stake when we're talking about equity, DEI, because we're seeing a clear example of what this will lead to. When you edit out all the fillers, suddenly you can see it in a way that was not possible before.
I don't think this is a moment to say, hey, you know, the truth is white guys are the ones who are catching all the hell, or non-black or brown people are the ones catching all the hell.
I am going to present tons of straw man arguments to not address the situation.
When it comes to policing in this
Not all of it, just a lot of it.
ostensible
Just an overwhelming amount of it.
two-tiered system of justice, I think a better way of thinking about it is this is an opportunity for us to think about policing differently.
Get ready.
First, he makes it
Get
about
ready.
black people being treated differently by police, which...
Oh, a white guy was killed by a migrant and the police sided with the migrant because of racism? Well, first, let's just acknowledge that black people are the real victims. Also, let's talk about abolishing police.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
That's not to say that all races get treated the same, but I think there's a fundamental problem here. But again, finally, there's no evidence that black people get treated better by police.
Dave Smith counters this by asking Mark,
Literally untrue.
okay, what if we switch the races? What if it was a black kid? All the variables are the same.
If there had been a situation where not a person who was committing a crime, a low-level crime, and then had an incident with police after that, but just a black kid was walking down the street and a white guy stabbed him to death, and then the cops handcuffed the black dude while he was bleeding out and sided with the white dude who had just stabbed him to death, I don't think Mark would be up here saying, let's not make this a race issue.
Watch how Mark responds to this.
That's a pretty good point, I'm sure.
Earlier, David said that if the tables were turned somehow, I wouldn't be denying that race matters here. Again, to be clear, I never said that race didn't matter here.
That is what you're saying. He's jumping between these two positions that contradict one another.
Yeah, because race only matters when the black guy's the victim. That's exactly what he's saying, yeah.
I'm suggesting here is that there isn't a two-tiered system of justice where white people are on the wrong side of it. If, for example, the person in handcuffs bleeding out were a Jamaican immigrant, or were a black American who'd come over, or were a West African migrant, I don't think that they would have been treated any differently.
But then just a moment later, he claims police should treat people differently based on race. They do treat people differently. And that's a good thing, actually.
The issue here, as Piers pointed out at the beginning, was a level of deference to the claim made by the Sikh that something happened to him. And I don't think that's the worst thing. If somebody says, hey, I was the victim of a racial attack, I understand why police may even be more sensitive to that right now.
Wait, so race does that? Just flipping back and forth. There is no coherent thought. There is no way to spin this one, man.
And he goes back to a completely separate claim.
But I think we'd have to be living in a bizarre world to believe that if the person in handcuffs were black, they would have been trusted and listened to more. There's no history in any Western country.
Mark, are you kidding
Whether it's the United States, whether it's Europe.
The true issue is whether or not white people are
Do
being
people actually believe the slopaganda anymore? Does the slopaganda work on anyone?
policed differently. Even though we have a video example, he claims there is no evidence. Well, Pierce counters this by providing some evidence.
In the UK, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, IOPC, is now reviewing a 2025 guidance document, so last year, from a National Police Chiefs Council, which says its goal is producing equality of policing outcomes. It doesn't mean treating everyone the same or being colorblind.
Yes, police
That's a
need
lone
to
cop.
factor in.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I showed you earlier, that there are like literally diversity laws for police officers in the United Kingdom. It's like make sure you arrest the same amount of people from each crime. Right? The 6 anti-racism commitments that the police takes. This is inherently anti-white. Inherently anti-white, by the way. That is exactly what this means. Because diversity just means dilute the white people. That's what diversity always meant, man. It's objectively true that there are different crime statistics from different communities in different countries. Objectively. Crime among Muslims and black people are higher than crime among white people and Asians and Jews. It's an objective fact. It's not racist to say. You can make whatever argument for the reasoning for behind it you want, obviously, whatever. I personally think it's mostly cultural. And these laws are basically saying, just because more crime
Is that another lone cop?
you're not allowed to arrest more of the people from those communities.
It's like they want me to kill cops.
Right? Like,
Race like any other day.
Institutionalized
Oh,
racism.
he's catching up with that
But
other
the
cop.
application
Okay,
of the
yeah.
law
See, they
should
tried
be
to lure
covered.
me in.
But it is quite possible
Oh, they
this
get
is
you.
filtered through police forces up and down the country, and that they've been effectively instructed not to treat everybody the same, not to be colorblind, so to be aware of people's racial ethnicity in incidents like this.
Michael Knowles spots the game that he's playing, changes up the hypothetical to where it's a Sikh person, which is what we have in the video example. Can you contend with that?
Okay, hypothetical here. The guy who's been stabbed 5 times and is bleeding out on the ground saying, "I can't breathe," is a Sikh man. And the guy who's claiming that he wasn't really stabbed and there was some racial incident is a white guy. Let's say the roles were exactly reversed, not to go to some trite racial political nonsense, but I guess it's illustrative here.
Let's see how he handles this.
If the complainant is a white guy and the person in handcuffs bleeding out is black, there's a whole history in the United States and in the UK of this happening. Or Sikh in this case. Sikh in this case in the UK, yes. I'm accepting the terms of your hypothetical. I'm saying yes. I don't believe the police operate any differently. It's not because
absolute fucking horse shit, and everyone knows it. The left literally needs you to suspend your disbelief and just acknowledge their false reality in order to operate. That's just how they work. It's the only way they actually work.
Hey, Mark, I got a bridge in London to sell you.
Marcus made it very clear he does not believe that there is any difference in how police respond to non-white people.
Ridiculous.
That's great, but allow me to tell you the reason why.
But
the reason is because I think that we have a problem with policing.
Because he can't contend with this example, he diverts again and makes it about getting rid of the police completely. Yes, actually abolishing the police, which is a foolish strategy to employ here.
It's actually retarded. It's anti-Bible. It goes against the words of the Old Testament. You know, obviously, duh. You know, establish for yourself courts and justice and officers is literally black on white. Pardon my terms. Letters in the Bible. It is the foundation of our civilization. It's almost like he wants us to go back to war. He wants us to turn into war-torn fucking barbarians in Africa. Now, I'm not saying this from a racial place. It just seems like that's where he's taking us, right?
An opportunity for us to think about force differently, and this is an opportunity to think about either reform or, in my tradition, abolition differently with regard to policing in the streets and policing in our neighborhood.
When you say abolition, Mark, hang on, Mark. When you say abolition, are you actually advocating for abolishing the police altogether?
I am, yes.
What would the alternatives be?
But I think it's
warlords in Africa. That's what he wants. Let's
more
go.
important.
You have no police force at all.
Bro, I know a place that would be literally paradise for all these people. All these libtards that want to abolish the police, we should literally pick them up and put them in the Congo. You know, I'm just saying, this would solve all the issues. They would live in paradise. You know, unless they get scalped, of course. You know, aside from that, they would live in paradise, and so would we.
That is what I'm saying, and I'm offering alternatives to policing. So it's not that we fire all the police and let the citizens run themselves. There are other mechanisms and systems that we can install like public safety forces.
What is a public safety force, if not a police force?
Like violence interruption forces.
What is a violence interruption force? Just think about that for a minute.
Therapists, a bunch of Karens with like short haircuts saying,
that would do the job that police are
unresolved childhood trauma.
Currently doing, but better prepare those forces to create safe environments and safe neighborhoods.
They literally showed up after this guy was stabbed 5 times. What the fuck are they supposed to do?
So you just want the police to be better prepared to be able to create safe environments. That's really your argument.
But I just want to finish the other thought before we get distracted by the abolition point here.
It's a pretty big point to distract the debate, I have to say. I mean, I hear you, but
it's
calmly
no more of a
throwing
distraction.
in, let's abolish the police. I mean, that's an extraordinary thing to say.
Yeah, because he's retarded.
Now Dave Smith
because the left doesn't live in reality. Yeah.
Pounces on one of the most glaring problems of this entire thing.
This is how much it's a two-tiered system of justice that Michael didn't even mention. The Sikhs are the only ones who are allowed to carry these knives in public.
You see, but here's the thing is, I'm just saying, it's part of my culture to carry, as an American, to carry guns. I'm just saying carrying guns is part of my culture.
One group of people in the UK are allowed to do something no one else is allowed to do. They're allowed to carry knives. Why? Because of their religious belief.
You're telling me that your security agency, your government has actually disarmed its own. There is one group of people who's allowed to have this weaponry and one who's not. And by the way, it's not Englishmen.
What if it's my religious belief to carry a gun?
There it is.
Well, you can't do that.
That's right. That's
Why?
American culture right there, baby.
According to your logic, I can.
Hang on.
It's ceremonial, sir. It's ceremonial. Yeah, it's an 8-inch knife, but it's ceremonial. It's ceremonial. And I can't, by the way, carry it. And if I wanted to carry around a Sikh ceremonial knife, I would not be allowed to because I'm not a Sikh. Right, just understand, the ceremonial knife comes along with a fucking turban. All right, let's just understand exactly what we're dealing with.
It wasn't very ceremonial in this case, was it?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, actually, the sacrifice. What do you mean? That's literally, it was very ceremonial.
My gun is ceremonial.
Just to be clear.
No, but you're making it seem as if Sikhs are allowed to have weapons and no one else.
They are.
Is, and that's not
They are.
That's literally true. That is exactly the case.
Literally the case.
Actually, it is allowed for Sikhs to carry ceremonial knives in this way, in a way that it wouldn't be for me to do the same.
Right.
However, interestingly, it's pretty much the same rule in America, is our understanding, that you can do that as well. So we checked the Kirpan law in the USA.
What are you fucking talking about, dude? In America, we can carry guns. Thank God for the Second Amendment.
Carrying a Kirpan is generally protected as an exercise of religion under the First Amendment.
I can carry a knife right now.
I can also carry a knife. Yeah, it's retarded. I can carry a gun wherever I want in America. Because America's fucking awesome. Because we don't live in fucking cucked out UK. They ban fucking everything except for specific religions. They're allowed to have whatever the fuck they want. Again, bro, you are Pierce Morgan is such a fucking retard, bro. Oh, but they banned guns. They banned guns. Yeah, they're currently having tribalistic war shootouts in Sydney, Australia right now among different Islamic gangs. But they banned guns, guys, so this is totally fine.
Now, in America, that's not really a point.
But is regulated by states and local knife laws and banned from federal facilities and airports. So there is a slight caveat there.
But yes, no one can carry a knife in the airport. That's not a slight caveat.
Pierce, we got something else that cancels out that problem. You know?
They're called guns, yeah. Yeah, but let's not get me going on your gun rules, because we'll be here all night.
I'm just saying, listen, I don't want, I know.
Ceremonial knife isn't obviously making an issue. We don't have an issue of ceremonial knife crimes in the United States because we carry around fucking guns. Like you have a two-tier system, you can't carry around a ceremonial knife. Yeah, you're right. True. Yeah, good point. I have a gun. I have a gun right now that I'm playing with as we speak. I'm sorry, man.
You're not going to agree with me on this, Pierce, but my advice to all Englishmen is that you find it to be your religious belief that you have a right to a handgun.
Well, the other way to do it.
Self-defense.
I mean, this should be a no-brainer. Application of the law is universal across citizens. I don't understand how this is even a debate.
But again, look at the facts on the ground. You have one class of people who are allowed to carry this weapon on them. You have another class of people who are totally disarmed and not allowed them to defend themselves. And in the moment, when there's an accusation of bigotry, that's enough to get everybody to freeze and go, ooh, we better err on the side of not being the bigots, because they know, as we've learned over the last 15 years, that that's what's going to get your face in the paper.
It's the fear of being perceived as biased towards.
That's why they create these labels, not because they believe in them, but because they can destroy you and control you.
A minority.
That's how leftists use words.
And it doesn't matter what the minority is.
That's right.
Pierce, everyone should know this already by now, but as soon as you start thinking of equality of outcomes, you're an enemy of justice.
Dave points out the core flaw here, which is equality of outcome, which is what the police are trying to pursue.
Because there's no such thing as collectivism and justice. If you're thinking at all, in any part of your mind, as a function of police work, that the overall result of this has to be that different groups end up being prosecuted in the same way, the only thing you should be thinking about is the justice in the immediate short run.
This is a perfect example of how that inevitably will lead to disaster every time. We cannot pursue equality of outcome. We can only pursue equality of opportunity and application of the law.
The idea that every single group should end up at the same end goal is ridiculous. It's like expected. It's like running a race. It's like, no, 1 second.
White supremacy is better, right?
Hold on.
If you want everyone to be treated equally, then you must be a white supremacist. Says Wajahat Ali from Pakistan.
Fascism is better, right?
It's like running a race with the expectation that everyone will finish at the exact same time. That's not how human beings work.
True! Objectively true. So in this case, when they're policing people with the idea of equality, racial equality, deliver equality of outcomes that treat people differently based on their race and needs and experiences basically means if you have one city with white people, where crimes are committed at, let's
Come
say,
on.
1 crime per 1,000 people, all right, this is just hypothetical, and you have another community, a migrant community that came from Pakistan, where crimes are committed at 10 per 1,000 people, hypothetically, you should arrest the same amount of people from each of these communities, all right? You should arrest 1 Pakistani and 1 white guy. That is what equality of outcomes is. The equal amounts of arrests, regardless of the amount of crimes. That is inherently baked into the police code, a racial ideology that is being weaponized largely against the native populations of different countries. It's defending the third worlders, and it is making life hell for the white people and the Asians and the Jews and the other communities that really have very little violent crime by comparison. Everyone knows this. Everyone with eyes believes this. I love how, like, literally, while this debate was going on, this dude tried to call him a white supremacist for stating it, because that is exactly the playbook. They'll give you a fucking title and try to ruin your life over it, but never actually attack the argument, because it's just objectively true. Well, we're tired, and the truth is, we don't really care about your labels. Your boos mean nothing. We've seen what makes you cheer. Anyway, that was today's deep dive on all of the things. Definitely subscribe. We do a deep dive every day. We try every day on all of the things, covering it in the least homosexual way possible. We are doing our absolute best here. I just have to say, in honor of Pride Month, we will be remembering the time where Muhammad was getting, the men of Al-Zut were riding Muhammad in the desert all night. We will be remembering that in honor of Pride Month. Definitely subscribe, share it with your friends, radicalize the generation. We're taking our countries back. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
He got 7 years. I was acquitted in that case. He got 7 years because of that one surveillance tape. So what? We weren't prepared for this. Gotti went down. How many tapes that were on Gotti? Hundreds of hours. Bad, Angelo, Crack Ruggiero, bad tapes. So many tapes have brought so many people down. I'm going to be honest too. I had a big undercover investigation on me. The FBI undercover agent had 83 tapes on me. He had a Niagara tape that had to his back. But you know what? I have to say this in my defense. Not one of those tapes was he able to use to convict me because to get me to say something, because I was very careful with him. Why? Because my father brought me up that way. If you don't know somebody, be careful what you say to him. Be very, very careful. I can tell you another incident. I was in Howard Johnson's restaurant in Syosset, Long Island. I was sitting down with somebody I didn't know. He was an undercover informant. He had a van outside. He was wired. They had a van outside listening to the whole conversation. But you know what? I wired myself too, because I didn't trust this guy. So when they told me, that place was wired, I said, well, whose tape do you want to use? Mine or his? I didn't say anything at that time. People, I'm not saying I'm that smart. Don't get me wrong. I was just a good listener. And when my father prepared me, I listened. My father used to hold the phone and say, you see this? This is a cop. It's a cop. Don't talk on it. Bad. I can't tell you before cell phones how many times I would run to pay phones. Oh my gosh. Take my dad to a payphone, run to a payphone, me, myself. We had a beeper at the time. We didn't talk on phones. I told my whole crew. I said, if you get caught on a wiretap, you're going to be in trouble. Another incident I'll give you. My friend Frankie Sestaro picks me up. I get off my plane. I'm coming from Florida, right? He says, we got to go to meet, what was his name? Jewish guy. I forget his name at the time. He was a gas guy. He said, we got to go meet him. We got a dispute over the gas. He explained it to me. I said, all right, I just got home, but let's go. We get to the offices in Amityville, Long Island, right? And I said, where are you going? He said, well, we got to go up to his office. I said, you know what? I'm not comfortable. I don't want to go in his office. I said, bring him down here. Let's go into the cafe. Okay. So I go into the cafe. I'm reading the newspaper. And I'm waiting for Frankie to come down, right? He don't come down. Half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. I'm not going up there. I just did not have a good feeling. Okay, he comes down. As a matter of fact, I called at the time. It was taking so long. I called Louis Fenz up. I said, Louis, come and pick me up. I don't know what the hell Frankie's doing up there, but I'm not going in the office. Okay, so in the interim, Frankie comes down after an hour and a half. I said, what are you doing up there? He said, don't worry about it, Chief. I settled everything. It's all good. No problem. Blah, 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 blah. I said, all right, but I told you, I didn't feel good about you. No, it's all handled. Don't worry about it. Cut to later on, I'm on trial. The discovery comes up, right, in the Giuliani case. What do you think happened that day? Number one, they had bugs. They had cameras in the trees walking into the office, right? The office was bugged. Not only that, there were 2 undercover agents, the FBI agents, well, I don't know if they were undercover, but they were sitting in the same cafe as I was. This meeting was all set up. They were sitting in there watching me. So what happens? Here's how they tried to portray that whole scene. Oh, Michael didn't go up. He was waiting downstairs. Frankie negotiated it for him. But then Frankie came down and filled him in on everything. That's what the agents were going to testify to. That's how it was. So we didn't keep up with this stuff. Now, was I that smart? I'm not saying that. But I was a little alert to this, thanks to my father and me being a good listener. All you people out there, you know, something that I teach when I mentor people, be a good listener. Don't run off your mouth. That's why so many times when people say things on social media, I listen. I'll use it later on. I'll use it to my advantage, but I'm not ready to speak about it right now. When you open your mouth, make sure you know the timing is right and you know what you're going to say. Don't make it get used against you. Trust me. Be a good listener. Don't run off your mouth. So what happened? Because of that, when Frankie and a few guys got indicted with me, and I said, we're going to take a plea, because it's going to be tough to beat this gas case. Oh, we don't want to take a plea, blah, blah, because they had never been in prison. Okay, after those tapes came down, I said, what do you want to do now, Frankie? You put me in trouble with this, because if you'd have listened to me, we wouldn't have had any trouble here. You would have told the guy to come down, and we would have sat and talked about it. The table we were at wasn't bugged. We wouldn't have this trouble. But you didn't listen. Then they took a plea. I got 10 years, they all got 5 and under. These were some of the blunders, so let's go over them again, just to you know, summarize everything. Number 1, Valachi, bad. Genovese, again, hit on Valachi. What does Valachi do? He decides to become an informant, self-preservation at the time. It wasn't that he felt he was going to be betrayed. He didn't want to get killed. He didn't get out of prison, but he became the first major informant and blew the whistle on Cosa Nostra. Bad. Genovese again, dumb move, blunder, appellation. Didn't need it, wasn't necessary. He wants to throw his chest out and exert himself. Didn't have to do it. Bad blunder. Cuba, blunder, not on our part. We got chased out after the revolution. Wasn't our part. We would have really controlled Cuba to the U.S. government. Probably got us there also. But you know, that was a major hit on our operation, getting thrown out of Cuba. Vegas, Bugsy Siegel, bad move, too flashy. Flamingo Hotel didn't go right. You know, hurt us a lot in that regard. But again, we were still able to build and dominate Vegas for quite a long time. And everybody through that era, everybody that knew when we ran Vegas says, Michael, it was so much better a town when you guys were there. Absolutely. No question about it. It was better. So we got ran out. Now you got Vegas. Everybody's leaving that town. It's not the same. Beautiful hotels, but not the same. Trust me on that. Okay. Lufthansa heist. Great for the mob, but again, brought a lot of heat. So look at it whatever way you want, because it was so out there. They're still talking about it. I'm talking about it. So it was big. Okay? Gotti. Flashiness. Didn't work. No good. Oh, before I do that, let me put the final nail on the coffin. It was Rico. No doubt about it. That's what brought us down. That's what really, really did the damage. Rico. Give Giuliani the credit because he used it effectively. Oh, let me tell you another thing I left out, but let me bring it back. Joe Bonanno. Sorry. A big fool. Writes that book. Tries to make the mafia look like this grandiose, wonderful, you know, philanthropic operation. Got in the crosshairs of Giuliani. He'd tell you the story. He said, that's how you present the criminal organization, Bonanno? What did he have to do that for? He's the boss. He's in Phoenix. He didn't need to bring that kind of heat. and make us sound like saints was stupid, was dumb. So what happens? Giuliani looks at that, and out of that book, he gets the blueprint to go after the commission using the RICO Act. Huge blunder. How did I leave that out? Huge blunder. Huge. So-called Joe Bonanno. A fool for doing that. Dumb. We can put dumb on that. Dumb. Really dumb. That book. I forget the name of it. Stupid. Okay? No need for it. What do you need to write a book for? And make us look like saints. We weren't saints. It was dumb. You know, the CIA getting involved, the Kennedy assassination, all that kind of stuff. Just no good. These were things that really highlighted and hurt us eventually. So, listen, I hope you enjoy it. You know, I know many of my followers love to hear the mob stories, people. And remember this, I'm not the hero of every story. I'm not going to make things up. But when something comes to mind that I think will be entertaining and enjoyable, and for many of you that really follow the genre, the mob genre, you know, I'm going to bring it up. Because, you know, look, I built a channel on that. You people supported me on that. Some of you say, Michael, you know, we hate when you get into politics. People, I hate politics. I hate it. I despise it. But listen, please understand this. When politicians are lying to you, lying to your face, and as a result of lying to you, your life is really hurt. I just want to bring that out. It's not politics. It's trying to make you aware we have to preserve this country. When I see them acting like crooks, which they do all the time, Minnesota, California, you name it, thieves, Pelosi, a thief, abusing the system, all of these people, I just want to bring it to your attention. Because I'm into crime, because I was a criminal, and I recognize it. I know it. Remember, I had politicians on a payroll with my gas business. I watched them get envelopes. I gave them envelopes. I understand this. These people, many of them are thieves. They're crooked. But when they're thieves and crooked, it hurts you. I just try to bring it out. So I'm still talking about criminal behavior. And listen, I labeled the government in Washington. They're the mafia. Mafia democracy. It's my book. They are the mafia right now. Trust me. They do kill people, or they cause people to get killed. No question about it. You think Biden bringing these criminals over the border that raped and murdered our girls, that's not just as bad as me putting a gun to the back of somebody's head? Why not? At least if we were killing somebody, we're killing our own. These people are getting innocent people killed for political reasons. They deserve to go down for that. I'm sorry. Bad people. So understand, there will always be mob stuff on my channel. I will not abandon it, I promise you. But stick with me on the other stuff because it's information that you need to know. That's why I do it, people. You need to understand it. I'm not trying to attack people. I will attack the government because they are attacking you. You just don't know it. And what do we need to do? We need to clean up this country. We need to get these people out. And I've told you, I am a Trump supporter because I support his policies. If Trump all of a sudden would do something that I think was really detrimental to these people, I'll bring it out. Well, what about the tariffs? I don't know. He thinks these tariffs are bringing a lot of money into this country. Until I see different, I have to support it. What can I tell you? You know, so don't give me that. This isn't about Trump or any other thing. This is about preserving our country. I'm not for socialism. Come on. All right, I'm not going to go any further now. I just want you to understand. So yes, we're going, and I feel like talking to you like I'm talking to my friends. I really mean that. Of course, I'll get comments and all this kind of stupid stuff, but it's okay. It's okay. People are allowed to express their opinion. You know this funny thing, people, or the sad thing? When people get personal and start attacking you because they're not intelligent enough to dispute your argument or to have a difference with you in an intelligent way. And then you hear the name calling and the stupid thing, and with Israel, you're taking 7,000. So stupid. You know, so most of the time, if I ever respond to somebody like that, I'm only bringing out your stupidity. That's all I'm doing. But intelligent discourse and dialogue and differences, I welcome it. I love it. You know, it's what Charlie Kirk was all about. Let's debate. Bring it on. Intelligently. But you get stupid about it, you know, most of the time we'll just block you. or will respond to let other people know how ignorant your statement was. That was it. So, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this today. How do I always leave you? Same way. Be safe, what's going on in this country now. And listen, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again. Do not challenge people with a gun. Do not challenge ICE agents with a gun, law enforcement with a gun, FBI with a gun. Do not challenge them, berate them, get in their face, get physical with them, because they can kill you. And for all you guys out there, do not allow or let your ladies do it. They're not supposed to be doing it. Don't let these government cowards, I was going to use a different word with a P, but I'm not going to. Do not let these government cowards use our women to fight ICE agents to deflect off of their fraud and their inability to protect you. They're cowards. They're not men. They allow women, instead of telling the women, their constituents, ladies, do not go up against these guys because they can kill you like they killed that woman. Don't do it. They're cowards. They're a bunch of bums, in my opinion. So ladies, be safe. Stay off the street with these. Don't do it. Even if you're getting paid for it, make money another way. Really, you're better off on OnlyFans than, and I don't say that proud. I understand how drastic I'm saying. At least you're not going to get killed on OnlyFans. You're going to get beat up or killed by one of these agents if they feel that their life is threatened. Use your head. Be safe. Be healthy. I'm not going to expand on that. And I will say this, God bless each and every one of you. God bless this country, that we get some peace here, that people start to use common sense. God bless your families, your friends, your loved ones. And yes, people, I'll see you next time. Please stay tuned. Thank you. Gallo War, very first war that I recall back in the late 50s, right into the early 60s at least. There's no reason to tribute you. You're not a king, you're a boss, and we're not doing that. We pay up when we have a deal, and we do what we're supposed to do at that time, but we're not paying tribute. But Joe Gallo, he's crazy Joe Gallo, he's had enough. He said, no, let's kill one of these hostages, and let's demand $100 grand. For the release of the others. That's what he wanted to do. Because of this, it escalates into a full-blown war because they betrayed the Gallos, went to kill Larry Gallo. Now it's open season. At this point in time, I think you're going to see evidence that it wasn't Joe Gallo that gunned down Colombo. It was... Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. All is very good, very blessed on this end, my friends. And as always, I give all the praise, honor, glory, and thanksgiving to our God for that. The Colombo family has been the most warring family out of all 5 families in New York. And yes, today I'm doing a mob-related story because very loyal viewers always ask me. They love the mob stories, and so I try to do it when I can. I don't make them up. I'm not going to do that. But when something is appropriate or something comes into my mind, or you ask me to do something and I think it fits, we'll do it. So today we do the Gallo War, very first war that I recall back in the late 50s, right into the early 60s at least. And I remember this because I was a kid, and my dad moved us out of Brooklyn to my grandmother's and grandfather's home in Long Island. They had bought a home out there in the mid-50s. And he was gone for a couple of days for some reason. And then one morning, very early in the morning, he comes to the house, and he hadn't shaved. My dad had a heavy beard. He hadn't shaved, and he looked kind of, disheveled a little bit for my dad. And he comes in and he gives my mother a hug, and I'll never forget, Joey Brancata, who was his soldier at the time, was on the front porch, and I can see through the window, he's kind of pacing back and forth, maybe standing guard, right? And I'm sitting on the step leading up to the second floor of the house where all the bedrooms were. And like I said, I'm 6, 7 years old. And my dad speaks to my mom a little bit. They hug. My mom's got a tear in her eye. Then he comes over to me, hugs me. You know, we're talking for a little bit. How's it going? And this and that. He doesn't say anything, obviously, about the war. But he's there for about a half an hour, and then he leaves. And then I didn't see him for another couple of days. This lasted for quite some time, a couple of months we stayed down there. As a matter of fact, it was from that point that we really never went back to Brooklyn too often, honestly. Here's what happens. All right, everyone, you know, when I was on the street, the reason I lasted for the time that I did and succeeded was because I always tried to stay one step ahead of the game. You know, it's January already. You probably made your resolutions. I hope so. Maybe it's to work smarter, make more money, or just get a step ahead. Let me tell you, there's one skill that's running the world in 2026, no doubt about it, and beyond, and that's AI. We've all heard of it. We've come a long way since 2019. AI is not science fiction anymore. It's diagnosing diseases, amazing in the medical field. It's writing code. It's automating entire businesses. So if you want to take real control of your future, let me introduce you to Outskill. This might be one of the best things you ever heard, and I really mean it. They're hosting this 2-day AI mastermind, a live boot camp. It's this weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. You'll spend 16 hours learning how to build your own AI agents, automate workflows, and even launch AI-powered services that may pay you weekly. This is unbelievable. People, you got to be ahead of stuff. This is an amazing opportunity. People from marketing, finance engineering, it doesn't matter. They're all joining in because this skill touches every industry now. Nothing is going to escape AI. Trust me on that. And if you show up both days, you're going to get lifetime bonuses. The AI Prompt Bible, the Profit Roadmap, and your own AI Toolkit Builder. It's unbelievable what they're giving away here. It's free for the first 1,000 people, thanks to me. So do yourself a favor, click the link in the description or the pinned comment, and grab your seat. Believe me, this might be the smartest move that you make all year. Trust me on that. Look, I always wanted to be ahead of the game. I'm into AI right now. I'm going to be in one of these sessions for sure. I got my team going to it. It's one of the reasons why we're succeeding, because my team is really on top of the AI. And this thing, Outskill, I didn't even know about it until recently, but it's amazing. So go there, people. It's an offer that nobody should refuse. It was, again, I think 1957, 58, around there. And Joe Profaci, who was the boss of the family, he was awarded that position when Luciano created the commission. You remember that back in the mid-40s. And he was the boss of that family, one of the 5 families. And what happens now is that Profaci, who I never really heard good things about, my dad didn't really like him, wasn't really a fan of his. Said he was kind of greedy and, you know, he was just not a good boss. You know, so he ordered all his men to give a tribute of $25 a month to him, regardless of anything else they were doing. You know, you had to pay up to the family. If you got into a deal, you hijacked the truck, whatever you did, you had to pay up to the family, right? On top of that, he wanted a $25 tribute from every member. Now, $25, this is back in the 50s. That's a couple $100 today. You know, it may not seem like a lot of money, but it was fairly significant at the time, just because he was the boss. No other reason. Not smart. You don't do that. You know, when I was in that life, if we did a deal on the street, we gave to the family. My kind of formula and my dad's formula was, if I came across a deal and it was a street deal, it was illegal, whatever, I gave 25% of whatever I earned to the family. That was kind of the formula we used. Now, if they were involved with me, they put up money, they were a partner in any way, then it was different. But if they had no involvement other than, you know, it was a street deal, we gave them 25%. They didn't ask for a tribute. I didn't have to give a tribute to Junior. I gave him what I wanted to give him, you know, at that time, but that's how it went. So now he says 25 bucks no matter what. A couple of $100 today, right? Well, a lot of guys resented that. I said, wait a second, we got to pay up on something that we're doing. Now we got to give a tribute to the boss like you're the king. You know, they didn't like that, especially some of the younger guys, you know. They resented that, and they were pretty upset about it. And the Gallows were one of the factions that resented it. And they said, we don't want to pay. And then a major flashpoint occurs in 1959 involving a guy by the name of Frankie Abetamarco. He had a very lucrative numbers business in Red Hook. He was in Red Hook, right? And he said, I'm not paying. I'm not going to pay a tribute. I already got to give him a piece of my action. Now I got to give him a tribute? No, I'm not doing it. Well, the Gallo brothers, there was Larry, Kid Blast, and Joey, they sided with a better market. They said, no, we don't want to pay this either. But then something happened. Profaci goes to the Gallos and orders them to murder a better market. And he said, if you do that, I'll give you his policy statements, his numbers rather. So what happens? In 1959, a better Marco gets killed, right? Probably the Gallos. I don't know if they have a clue. Most likely the Gallos. But Profaci goes back on his word, and he doesn't give them the policy statements. So now the Gallos are really upset. Profaci had kidnapped Better Marco's son and would not give him up. So the Gallos are really upset. They really, upset, and rightfully so. You made a deal. Killed a guy, you get the rackets, now you renege on it. This was Profaci. So the Gallo brothers at the time, they aligned with Persico's crew, and Persico had a kind of a gang then, it was called the Garfield Boys. And they were now opposing Profaci. So it was the Gallos and Persico, remember what I'm telling you, going against Profaci. And then in February of 1961, that's when the war really unfolds. What happens? Larry and Albert Gallo, they kidnapped 4 of Profaci's top guys. They kidnapped them. I believe there were 5. 4 for sure, but I believe there were 5 because my dad told me the 5th one was Joe Colombo. I don't know if that's true or not because it's not really listed that way and I haven't heard it, but I believe that Joe Colombo was part of them. But who did they kidnap? They kidnapped the underboss, Joe Maiolico. They kidnapped Joe Profaci's brother, Frank Profaci. They kidnapped Sally the Sheik Masaccia. That was my dad's first captain, Sally the Sheik, powerful guy. And they kidnapped another soldier, his name was Johnny Stimone. So they kidnapped him. And they're holding them on President Street where they had their club. And it was called the Dormitory, I think, the social club that they had, 51 President Street. Famous kind of street, if you remember, back in all of Colombo lore, I would say. And the Gallo said, hey, we'll release these guys, but we want improved financial conditions. We're not going to pay the $25. There's no reason to tribute you. You're not a king, you're a boss. And we're not doing that. We pay up when we have a deal, and we do what we're supposed to do at that time, but we're not paying tribute. So now, they're at a standstill for a while. Joe Gallo, he's crazy Joe Gallo. He's had enough. He said, no, let's kill one of these hostages, and let's demand $100 grand, for the release of the others. That's what he wanted to do. Larry Gallo, his older brother, overruled him. Said, that's not going to accomplish anything. We're not going to kill any of these guys. And anyhow, this is going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's at a standstill. They won't release the hostages. Profaci's not giving in. And then what happens is that the Gallos agreed to meet with a couple of Profaci's guys. Now, here's the thing. They agreed to meet with the consigliere. That was Charlie the Sidge Cicero. And my father told me at the time that he was one of the guys that went in to negotiate the release of the hostages. I have no reason to believe my father would lie to me. He told me, listen, I was friendly with the Gallos. They had a lot of respect for me, and I was one of the ones they asked to come in to negotiate the release, because they wouldn't just speak to anybody. They wanted Charlie the Sidge, and they wanted my father. That's what he told me. So they go in. Now, let me tell you the story with Charlie the Sidge. I think I've told this before, I'm sure I have, but for some of you that are watching now and haven't heard this, Benny the Sidge, the Cicero, was a made guy. He was Charlie's son. And he had another, Benny had another brother too. So there was 2 brothers, and Charlie the Sidge was their father. Well, I'm driving Benny the Sidge home to his house in Brooklyn one time, and I'm ready to drop him off, and he says, before you leave, just wait, don't leave until I tell you to. So he goes up to his door, he puts a key in, he opens the door, and I watch him, he's sticking his head in like he's calling for somebody. Well, nobody answers. He pulls the door closed. He comes back and he gets in the car. I says, Benny, what's up? And I never mentioned his name before, but I'm doing it now. He said, Benny, what's up? He said, well, I can't go into the house. Nobody's home. I said, well, Benny, it's your house. Why does somebody have to be home? He said, no, I can't go in the house. I said, why not? Well, here's his story. Charlie the Cicero was murdered. And he was murdered because, allegedly, he was fooling around with another made guy's wife, daughter, sister. I'm not sure what the story was. And the contract was given to Benny and his brother, and they whacked their father, whacked their own father. Terrible, right? And he said to me, Michael, ever since that day, that was 30 years ago, ever since that day, I can't go into my house. My father's ghost haunts me in that house. He just wouldn't, and for 30 years he wasn't alone in his house. That's the life of cops. But whack their own father? I don't know. Well, anyway, just a side story. But my father, allegedly, and Charlie the Sidge go in, and they negotiate the release to the hostages. They were unharmed, and that temporarily kind of diffused the whole war. But then Profaci didn't honor the agreement that was made when the hostages were released. And what happens? He starts hitting people in 1961. Gallo loyalist, Joe Jelly Gioli. He was murdered after being lured on a fishing trip or something. They brought him to a fishing trip, a couple of Profaci guys, and then they killed him. And then what happens? Larry Gallo. They attempt to murder him. Who did it? Carmine Persico at the Sahara Club in East Flatbush. Carmine Persico goes in with Sally D'Ambrosio, and they go to kill Larry Gallo. They were choking him to death. What happens? A cop walks in the middle of it, and Persico runs out. Now, wait a minute. You say, hold on, Michael, you just said that, you know, the Persico faction was loyal to the Gallo faction. He was. And then he switched sides. He went with Profaci. Who knows what Profaci offered him? Maybe he was going to make him a captain at the time. I think that was the deal. I'm not sure. But that's how Carmine got his name, the Snake, because he betrayed the Gallows. Carmine the Snake Persico betrayed the Gallows. I have a little more of a story to tell about my former boss, Carmine Persico. I'm gathering some more information, and I'm going to interview somebody that has some real information, and this is all going to fit in. He was named the Snake for a reason, and he lived up to that reputation well beyond what happened with the Gallows. And I'm going to talk about it, and it's going to be mind-boggling to some of you, like it was to me, because at first I didn't believe it, but now the evidence that I'm uncovering, it all makes sense. And Carmine the Snake, my former boss, who I really liked during that time, he did put a contract out on me when I walked away from the life. His son, Alley Boy, baptized my oldest boy, John. And now I'm kind of turned off in a big way on both of them. And it has to do with Greg Scarpa. But we'll get into that because I'm going to do something very intense on this. And that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. So now what happens? After that, the conflict escalates into a full-blown war. So the Persicos, because of this, it escalates into a full-blown war because they betrayed the Gallows, went to kill Larry Gallo. Now it's open season. And assassinations, attempted hits, it's going on for years. And then what happens? Joe Gallo gets in prison. He had a case pending. He goes to trial, gets convicted. He gets 7 to 14 years. I think it was conspiracy and extortion. Joe Profaci, he dies of cancer in 1962. But the war was never officially ended. I mean, it wasn't like, okay, this was negotiated, it's over, that's it. No. Joe Mayoko, he becomes the acting boss of the family when Profaci dies. He wasn't really well liked either. 1963, Persico, the Gallows were still in for it. He survives a car bombing. They went after him. He survives a car bombing, and later on, they shot him up. And but he didn't die. And I remember Junior always had he didn't have full use of his hand. He used to be by his side, didn't have use of his hand, and that was part of the shooting, the assassination attempt. So now what happens, it's kind of losing momentum after that, and then the commission steps in and they say, okay, that's enough. We're imposing peace, that's enough. No more violence in this family, it's not good. And you know, a boss in a family never has to listen to the commission. Nobody can tell him what to do. But obviously it's to his benefit if the commission is imposing something on him or strongly suggesting that, hey, enough, you should listen. It's to his benefit. You don't want to get the other four bosses mad at you. No, not doing that. So they kind of settled things down. And then when Joe Gallo went to prison, he was really the prime mover on this, more than his two brothers, more than than them. He was the guy that really moved this along. So he goes to prison, and it starts to simmer down a little bit. Joe Mayoko now, he's removed. He gets removed from being boss. Why? Because he had an assassination attempt against the other bosses, right? There was a plot. And he had Joe Colombo. He wanted Joe Colombo to kill Carlo Gambino and the other bosses. He wanted to take over everything. He wanted to impose his rule on all of New York. He gives Joe Colombo the contract. Joe Colombo says, no, this doesn't sit right with me. He goes and tells Carlo Gambino about the plot. So they call Maioco in. The commission calls him in and said, hey, here's what's happening now. You're done. You're going to step down and you're going to get lost. That's it. We're not going to kill you because you're a boss. Joe Bonanno, who is also part of the plot, he sided with Maioco. He wanted to take control. They tell him too, out of respect for you being the boss of the family, we're not going to kill you, but you're done. You're on the shelf, get out of town, or you will die. That's when he moved to Phoenix. And you know, when you think about the book that he wrote, remember, Joe Bonanno writes a book, this ridiculous, stupid book, about how the mafia was really a family, a benevolent family. He doesn't even use the word mafia. He makes it a benevolent family, but he lays out the structure and everything else. And if you remember, it was Giuliani who went to visit Bonanno after he read his book. And after visiting Bonanno and reading the book, that's what gave him the blueprint to go after the commission. It was Joe Bonanno. Why did he write that book? Did he write it to get even with everybody? Did he write it because he was an egotist, a narcissist? He didn't need it. He had plenty of money. He was living in Phoenix. He writes this stupid book. Anyway, caused a lot of trouble. Joe Colombo, who was a Profaci loyalist, because he went and informed the commission about this whole plot, they named him the boss of the Profaci family. And then for some reason it was changed to the Colombo family. Now people say, well, did Joe Colombo make it the Colombo family? Did he say now this is officially the Colombo family and we're changing the name from Profaci to Colombo? He didn't do that. It's the FBI that named the family. So for some reason they decided to call, you know, the Colombo family, the Profaci family, the Colombo family. It's just like the Genovese family is still the Genovese family. It's not the Chin family. It's not the Fat Tony Salerno family. It remained the Genovese family. You know, it's just whatever the government wants to do. So, and then finally, in 1963, a formal peace agreement was brokered between the Gallo faction and the Colombo faction, meaning now the Persico faction and the Colombo faction. At least we think so. Michael, what do you mean by that? I'm not revealing that yet, but I'm going to. And then we're going to see how this thing unfolded and what I'm talking about when I talk about the Persicos, but not yet. So who does this? Raymond Patriarca, he's the boss of the Patriarca family in New England. He negotiates this peace agreement. He brokered the agreement in 1963. So allegedly, the war is over, right? Well, Joe Gallo's in prison. He gets out in 1971. He said, hey, I wasn't there when Patriarca did this. I'm not saying this war was over. I wasn't part of the agreement. As far as I'm concerned, it's not over. And the story is, I don't know if this is true or not, but the story is that Gallo now goes to Colombo in some way and says, hey, we want a financial payment because we were never compensated for any of this. We need compensation. The Gallo faction needs compensation. We're not buying into the fact that you're the boss here. Well, Colombo refuses, from what I'm told. And again, I'm getting this secondhand. I don't know if this is a fact. I'm a recruit at that time. This is the early 70s when it happened. So I don't know if it really happened, but this is what I was told. Gallo demands a tribute. Colombo says no. Gallo's still upset, right? Now they're saying this goes to the Second Colombo War. There was some unrest at that time. But here's the thing. June 28, 1971, at the Italian-American Civil Rights League rally at Columbus Circle, what happens? Joe Colombo is gunned down. You know the story there. We don't have to get into it again. Colombo leadership initially blamed Joe Gallo. It fit. Joe Gallo was still upset, demanded tribute, didn't happen. Boom, he's going to take out Colombo. Jerome Johnson is there. It kind of fit because he was a black guy, and Joe Gallo, allegedly in prison, was very close to a lot of the black guys in there. And allegedly, he sets up this Jerome Johnson to go and take out Colombo. You know, it happened. Joey didn't die at that time. He lingered for 7 years until he died, but he was basically not functioning, right? And then what happens? April 7, 1972, Joe Gallo is killed. Umberto's Clam House in Little Italy. They gun him down. You know, that murder, never solved. They believed it was somebody from the Colombo faction. Of course, it probably was. They're saying they blamed him at that time. They blamed him at that time for the shooting of Joe Colombo. you know? And after Joe Gallo's death, his brother Albert Gallo and the remaining Gallo crew, they were expelled from the Colombo family. That I know is true. Expelled, they got rid of them, they didn't kill them, they didn't want war after that, but they did get rid of the Gallos. They're out. In 1975, the surviving Gallo faction was allowed to join the Genovese crime family. That happens rarely, but every once in a while. So then the Gallos become part of the Genovese crew. You never really heard of them too much after that. They were pretty well decimated, you know, at that time. So, but let me get back to the Colombo deal. At this point in time, I think you're going to see evidence that it wasn't Joe Gallo that gunned down Colombo. It was the FBI. They set it up. And I'm going to give you very strong...
You fucker!
I'm going to call it evidence. I'll call it evidence. It's not just supposition. I think it's strong enough. I'm going to be interviewing somebody that's going to give even more credence to what I believe to be true. And then I'm going to put the pieces together. It was the FBI that killed Joe Colombo. They hated Joe Colombo. They hated the League. They hated the picketing. I know. I was intimately involved in that. They hated it. And they wanted to get rid of Colombo because the League was really picking up steam. He was doing some great things. Trust me. And thousands of members. This was going to be a movement all over the country. It was a movement all over the country. Now, of course, they say Joe Colombo was using it to line his pockets and all of that. Listen, they're always going to put disparaging information out there. I don't know that to be true. I believe Joe Colombo was extremely sincere. I just sat down with his grandson, Anthony Colombo. Anthony Colombo Sr. was my good friend, Joe Colombo's son. My good friend. I just sat down with his son, who was going to give me even more information to prove that it was the FBI that gunned down Joe Colombo. You think the FBI doesn't do shady things like this? Go to Jubilee, just posted on Sunday, and watch me sit with 20 cops and debate them about how the FBI can be so underhanded, how they use informants, how they set people up. Watch it, okay? And this is what I believe happened with Joe Colombo, and I think I'm going to give you very strong evidence to prove the same. So that's it, people. You know, I hope you enjoyed it. I know, again, I have to satisfy my people that love the mob genre. I get it. They do enjoy the stories. And listen, I'm here for you. I always say this. I appreciate you helping me build this platform. You've been very, very loyal to me, so I'm never going to totally go away. The next thing I'm going to talk about, or one of the things I'm going to talk about, is the difference between the mafia in Italy and Cosa Nostra here in the United States. There are real differences, and I say that. There's, similar organizations in many ways, but quite different in others. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to do a deep dive into that. The mural behind me, okay? Again, I mean, is it a mural? Whatever. Behind the tapestry behind me. You know, I started talking about doing a deep dive on each one of these members up there. I'm going to be doing the same. We're going to continue that. So you're going to hear the mob stories, but I'm also going to talk about other things. People, you know, I know you want to hear my perspective on other things. A lot of it is crime related. I talk about the government and the fraud and all of this. I'm not talking politics. I told you so many times, when people are coming across the border and murdering our people here and raping our women, that's crime. That's something to talk about. These are issues that affect your life. You want to hear my perspective? I told you, 2026 is the year of accountability. We're going to hold the mafia people in government accountable because they're hurting you directly. Mafia, back in my day, we didn't hurt all of you directly like this government is, defrauding you, Minnesota, California, Chicago, all over the place. Accountability is what's going to happen in 2026. So you're going to hear my perspective on a lot of things, but I will never walk away from the mob stuff. I promise you that. So hope you enjoyed today, my friends. How do I always leave you? Same way, never going to change. Please be safe. Ladies, listen to me. I don't care what anybody else says. This is not political. You don't like ICE? Fine. Protest. You don't like police? Fine. Protest behind the barriers peacefully, the way you're supposed to do it, legally and lawfully. Because when you get in the face of an officer that has a gun, who might be unstable, who might be incorrect, who might not be incorrect, if you're dead and he's a bad guy, you're dead anyway. He can shoot and kill you if he feels it's appropriate, whether he's right or wrong. So why would you chance it? And if your boyfriend or your husband allow you to be put in that situation, shame on them. Hold them accountable. We're there to protect our women. And guys, the same thing. Don't do it. You know, I'm not saying these agents are always right. Maybe one of them could be wrong. Who knows? What's the difference, right or wrong? You're still dead or shot. What do you need it for? It's common sense. Be safe, ladies and guys also. Be healthy. They're saying if you live till 2030 and you're fairly healthy, okay, you might be able to live to over 100 with a good quality of life. Do the best you can. Watch what you eat. My pizza now, the ingredients great. You're going to be hearing about slices pretty soon. You know, my wine, we have non-alcoholic, very, very low in sulfites. Great stuff. I only put out good stuff, people. That's it. Pizza, wine, how can you beat it? Be healthy. And yes, I mean this. I'm a person of faith. I'm not perfect. I screw up at times. I'm a sinner at times. But I love the Lord. Jesus Christ is my Savior. He saved my life, gave a different plan and a purpose for my life, His plan and purpose for my life. That's why I'm alive and free. I believe that with all my heart. The evidence supports it totally. So when I say this, I really mean it. I don't just say it randomly. God bless each and every one of you. Your families, your friends, your communities, your neighborhoods, your cities and your states. God bless all of you. I want God to bless this country and help us here. We need help. We really do. God bless each and every one of you. God bless America. And yes, I'll see you all next time. Stay tuned. The world doesn't need another wine. It really needs a reason to raise a glass again. A reason that's real. A reason that means something. Because most people, they drink to forget. We drink to remember where we came from, what we stand for, and who we still fight to become. We don't follow trends, we break them. Our bottles don't look like anyone else's because our story, it isn't like anyone else's. It's about freedom, about redemption, about family. That's what's inside every bottle. So, to the ones who think different, who live different, who drink different, salute. I only wish there were more FBI agents there, more federal agents there. There was only one, and he didn't do too well against me. I have to say that. But come on, you mean to tell me 23 years, you've never seen any FBI agent do things that were, you know, very questionable? And I said to him, I've never, in 5 trials of my own, in 3 of my dad's, and others that I participated in, I've never seen a paid informant. I've seen multitudes of the dozens of them. Get on the stand, left hand on the Bible, right hand swear to tell the truth, and then not lie. They're being paid. But a street guy, you're going to pay him? Paid informants have much incentive to lie. You watch how some of these officers responded. They tried to defend it. But again, you know, in a way, they're just on a different level. They don't understand the way the feds work. Now, a lot of people in the comments, I got to tell you, they say that I crushed these guys. Tell me what you think. Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Francis. Hope everybody is doing well. All is very good, very blessed on this end. As always, my friends, I give all the praise, honor, glory, and thanksgiving to our God for that. Hope you're all doing well. You know, there's a very interesting social media platform called Jubilee. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but it's very, very interesting in that it will take one person in a certain field and put them in the middle of 20 people that are in a different field and oppose their point of view in whatever the situation may be. Very high profile people have been on that, like Jordan Peterson, Patrick Bet-David, a number of people. And it's really very interesting because you're against 20 people, the one person against 20. You know, liberals against conservatives, you know, Gen Z against another generation. Really cool. Doing it a long time. They got a big platform. I think 10 million followers and God knows how many views. Well, they approached me and they wanted me to sit in the middle of 20 law enforcement people. So I agreed. I thought it would be fun. I can't wait, right, to get with law enforcement people And here they're opposing views. So they asked me to come up with 4 questions. They gave me a bunch of choices, and they said, pick 4, and then we're going to do this thing. So we did it, and it was great. I had a great time. I can tell you this. You know, they had 20 law enforcement people. There was only 1 FBI agent. Most of them were local police. And I have to say this. Now, please understand where I'm coming from. They didn't have the background or experience that I had on the street with the feds and with all the multitude of investigations that I've had, both on myself, my dad, and obviously people around. They didn't have the experience that I had with certain levels of law enforcement. So it was kind of, I don't know if you want to say they were at a disadvantage. I'm going to let you choose. You can go to Jubilee, watch it, and see what you think. I think overwhelmingly, most people in the comments, and up until the last I looked, there was 7,000 or 8,000 comments. It's already got over 1 million views. Most people think that I did pretty well against them. I'm going to say it like that. So I'll leave it up to you if you want to watch it. But I want to give you my reaction to some of this, because these are very important questions. Very important questions that I posed. I only wish there were more FBI agents there, more federal agents there. There was only 1. And he didn't do too well against me, I have to say that. And he was an honest guy, he certainly appeared to be an honest guy, and he talked about how upright and honest the FBI was and how they had to follow the rules and how he never saw them go outside, you know, of the rules and policies that the FBI has to take. Never saw them break the law. They always played it straight. Well, obviously, I disagree with that, and we got into it, and I think he was getting pretty offended. You know, you'll watch it. But let me go to the first question, and I'm going to get into it, and I want to see if you agree with me. Why don't you be the people now and give me your comments? Tell me what you think about these questions. Go watch Jubilee. I'm sure my team's going to put some clips up here with people that I was up against, and let me know what your thoughts are. I think we'll have some fun with it. All right, let me stop you for a second, because if you want real success in 2026,
turn on some lights in here.
you can't do
My
what
eyes are
everyone
starting to
else is
bother
doing.
me.
Common sense. You can't rely on motivation alone. You can't wait for January revolutions that fade by February. And you definitely can't learn everything you need from YouTube. That's out of the question. Starting in 2026, I'm taking my most important lessons. Real strategies, real mindset, real discipline. I'm taking them off this platform and into my private community and school. This is the stuff that helped me go from the life I was living, and you know what that was all about, to building lasting success on the outside. I'm 74 years old. Gotta say there's been some success. No algorithms, no filters, just honest conversations about business, about life, and what it actually takes to win the right way. If 2026 is the year you stop talking about change and you start living it, you want to be in the room with people who are serious about doing the same thing. You can join us at michaelfrancis.com/family. Now let's get back to it. The first question was, I said undercover operatives, whether they believe police or FBI or whatever, often manufacture crimes when they're out to get somebody. Now, they all disagreed with that, every single one of them. And you know, the way the format is, they have about 20 minutes for each question, and they raise their hands, you'll see it, and then they have to run to the chair. And whoever sits down, that's who I talk with, right? So most all of them disagreed with this. And I told them, I said, you people are wrong. You know, and we talked about sting operations. Now, here's the deal. When you get an undercover agent or an informant, and their sole purpose is to come in and trap somebody, get them to go along with a crime, what I stated to them is they are manufacturing the crime. Even in the case of an informant, because the informant now becomes a government agent. He's working for the government. He may not have the badge, he may not have taken the oath, but he's working for the government. So he is now a government agent. And you're sending this government agent specifically to induce somebody into criminal activity. So you're manufacturing a crime. That's it. And they were saying to me, well, you know, you could have said no. I said, I agree with that. Or anybody could say no. The criminal, the alleged criminal could say no. That's true. However, if you didn't manufacture the crime and bring it to him, you would have nothing to say no to. So you're actually creating a criminal activity, and you're inducing him to do it. So you're manufacturing a crime that he didn't know about before you brought it to him. So what I kept saying is you're manufacturing a crime, and that's wrong. Even if you believe this person is a criminal, and you might suspect that he's doing criminal things in the case of organized crime, okay. If he's a John Gotti or a Sonny Francis or anybody that you name, or even me, you believe that we're engaged in criminal activity. Okay, well then why don't you catch us doing what you believe we're doing? You can't send somebody in, manufacture a crime, bring a crime into their presence that they would have never known about before, and say, if you do it, it's not entrapment. Yes, it is. You're entrapping that person. You're bringing him a criminal situation that wouldn't have existed if the government agent didn't present it to him. So my argument is you're manufacturing a crime. And they kept saying, well, you could say no. I said, I know that. But if you didn't bring it to him, there'd be nothing to say no to. So if you trap him and he goes along with it, well, you created the crime. You entrapped him. And I kept saying that, and they kept saying no. And I think if you watch it, you'll see that I think I made my points.
I'm logging out. I'm getting tired. I'll see you guys in the morning.
There would be no criminal activity.
I'm going to have to save first.
Well, they might be doing something else. Okay, well, then go get them for what you suspect they're doing. You have all the tools,
see you
all
guys
the
in the
weapons,
morning.
all the money, all the resources. Why must you bring him a crime? Why must you try to entrap him in a crime?